Here are your hosts, former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Welcome in on a Wednesday, December 21st, 2022 edition, an early signing day edition of Sportstime on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. It's going to be really cold. Going to be really cold going into the weekend in Memphis, Tennessee. But hey, it is what it is. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. Producing the program from our team Memphis is super producer Brian Dacus on Twitter at Brian_Dacus. Brian, how are you?
I'm good, Gabe. I forgot to mention yesterday we were just so busy. Yesterday was a Gabe hate day as the Kraken took on the St. Louis Blues, and they came up victorious. The first win over the St. Louis Blues in franchise history with a score of 5-2.
And my partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy on Twitter at Brett Norsworthy. Brett, how's it going?
Going well. I noticed Gabe just breezed right over
through it.
The St. Louis Blues.
What do you want me to say?
Contempt.
It's been
Congratulations, Kraken.
Kraken. It's good Kraken. Yeah, I breezed by because my Blues have been very, very up and down this year.
And Kraken are on the rise.
Yeah, they're very good this year. They're really good this year.
Well, they're
real quickly. Can y'all
really
name the 4 non-S ending nicknames in the NHL? Go.
Kraken. There we go.
Kraken's one. I don't know.
Lightning Wild Avalanche.
Lightning Wild Avalanche. There we go. Well done. Well done.
We could have spent the whole 3 hours just trying to figure out those 4 names, honestly.
Right off the top of the show with some knowledge.
NBA. You got them?
Nope.
No.
Thunder.
He Jazz Magic Thunder.
Wow.
Okay. Well, there you go, Brett.
NFL?
Just go. Just tell us.
There aren't any.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Baseball?
Go ahead. You have the floor. The floor is yours.
Red Sox, White Sox.
Nice.
That's right.
Well done. Well,
now we know.
Well, if they were spelled SOCKS.
But they ain't.
But they ain't. They're X. They got that X there. Now, first off, our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. On the show today, we have a lot to get to. As far as guests are concerned, we'll start there. Alex Kuhn at 3:30 will join us. KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. We'll talk some early signing day. We'll talk some Big Ten. We'll talk some college football playoff. We'll get to all that with him right there at 3:30. 4 o'clock is going to start the hour of bowl talk. We have a lot of bowl talk to get to in the second hour today. David Fletcher, the executive director of the TaxAct Texas Bowl, will join us. We'll also, after him, sort of talk some signing day. Dabo with one of the more quotable moments in NIL history today, and we're going to have to play that sound and talk about the jokes that have been writing themselves today on the World Wide Web. But David Fletcher will join us at 4 o'clock. 4:30, Steve Earhart, the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, will join us. It'll be our final visit with him before the game is actually played. Obviously, Arkansas and Kansas, and we will have plenty to get to with him. 5 o'clock, Kevin Sweeney will join us, talk some college basketball from College Basketball Central and Sports Illustrated. Tigers in action tonight versus mighty Alabama State, minus 30.5. We'll get to our bankroll.
31.5.
31? It's grown?
Sure has, which is wild to believe.
It's a big line. That's a big line. The plus is always very very tempting when it's that big of a line. But we'll talk about the Tigers at the bottom of the second hour, and I'll have to sort of talk about the Tigers' offense, where they're at nationally, and what may need to be done in some of these games going forward to see if this offense can get back right. Is it time for Jonathan Lawson? We will discuss. Of course, with signing day, we have to talk about the Memphis recruiting class, which is fantastic. I mean, there's been a couple of surprises today. Xavier Hill from LSU, a transfer, has decided to sign with Ryan Silverfield and company. Also, another 4-star added to this recruiting class that we'll have to talk about. Of course, Kirby and Nick fighting for the top spot again this year.
Nick Saban letting everybody know he's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
There's no gently into the night retirement for him, is it?
It's been funny to think about when NIL came about, some of the takes about Nick Saban sort of folding under the pressure of NIL. That's hilarious. He has 6 5-star recruits already signed today. So there is that. But him and Kirby are going at it. And by the way, Dan Lanning making a splash as well.
He sure is, and he's got that look of being one of those big-timers, one that could really make a a lasting impression. Win a national championship at Oregon. They've been close under a couple of really good coaches, but it looks like he's that. Gabe, if I set the number over the next 3 years, 23, 24, and 25 season,
Yep.
and I set the number at 40 for Alabama, would you bet over or under wins?
23, 24, 25 at 40.
Three full seasons. We're going to have additional playoffs. They may not always be in those extra games, but they're going to get at least one extra game if they're the number one seed.
So if we're going full undefeated through the regular season, 36
SEC
wins,
championship
SEC
game.
championship, playoff games at 40,
cetera.
right at 40. That'd be that's an interesting question.
I'm going to use that number for the next question in a second. But we're not playing high hard, but I'm kind of doing that to you. I'm sorry.
I'd say potentially over with the extra games that are going to be added.
I think I would definitely say over.
Yeah.
All right, using the number of 40 for all the players signing today, wherever, whether it's here locally for the Tigers, whether it's Oregon for Dan Lanning, Bama, anywhere that plays FBS football. I'm going to set the number at 40 for those players that are signing today, 40 games played at the place they're signing at. I wonder what the percentage would be.
Under by a lot, whatever the percentage you set it at. I'd say under. I mean, I
would too.
That's the amount of freedom of movement and everything else. NIL being a big part of what
where
we're looking
you
at.
sign today. Will you play 40 college football games for them? Whether it's injury, unhappiness, whatever.
And also, every time early signing day comes around now, if you've listened to the show in the past, I think Brett and I are very aligned on this. I have really hated the unintended consequences of early signing day when it comes to the coaching carousel, coaching movement, and some of those players. I think it's been at a massive detriment to when we look at bowl season, coaches elsewhere at that time, players not playing as hard. But the postseason, I think, has been diminished a lot by what we've seen with early signing day.
Less than an hour ago, I talked to someone that had talked to an SEC coach, position coach, and he has mopped up this year in his recruiting class. He has gotten a great class, but he hadn't been given the good to go to stay on the staff with other staff changes this year. And he feels like they used him to get this good class. And then when they get through with their bowl, they're going to tell him, hey, we're making some changes because we got staff changes.
Such is life. That's what it is. That is,
it's cold
what
and cruel,
it is
isn't it?
These days. Also, Hugh Freeze at Auburn, with the coaching switch and everything that's happened at Auburn over the past year, the fact that he's at number 19 right now in 247 recruiting rankings and had a couple of big flips today, it's been pretty substantial for him.
Great recruiter, really loves it, and he's not one that's all of them have to try to fake it that they love it. He really does. He's recruiting all the time. He expects everybody around him to be recruiting all the time, and it's not surprising that he's done well. And Gabe, you're right. We are aligned on this early period, and I bet you would have if you hadn't been playing and you had been with me. And every bit of this, I warned against that we did not need this early signing period. I wish we would get rid of the garbage in college basketball and move it back to the one date in April after everything settles. But no,
Brett, it was never necessary. It was never necessary.
Gabe, so much of it, so much of the administration and the technicalities around college sports isn't necessary because the people that kind of took over, Gabe, you'll love it, when used to at every place. Coach Murphy was athletics director and football coach at Memphis. Coach Vaught, same at Ole Miss. Coach Bryant, same at Alabama. Broyles at Arkansas. It was everywhere. It was. They had a fiefdom. And they ran everything, but the pinheads, the bow tie crowd, the academicians, they had to there were two big things they wanted to get rid of. Get rid of the football coach that's also AD. Well, we did, and we got a bunch of marketing gurus that can give you a great PowerPoint display on anything.
Yep.
And they've been to every NCAA symposium on every subject matter, including jock itch. We had to get rid of them, and we had to get rid of the big old mean football dorm. and they just need to live with the general student clientele, and they don't need to be in kind of a caste system, and their dorm doesn't need to be better than others when they still really kind of have
Spoiler
it, and
alert,
their dorm
there
is
still is a football dorm.
Exactly.
Spoiler alert.
We just
whole
slapped a different name on it.
Yeah, well, it's a floor within the regular student population now. It's not like you don't mix in football players with regular students in their first dorm situation. It doesn't happen. So, yeah.
But we moved a lot of the chairs on the deck, and it made everybody feel good. Had rounds and rounds and rounds of meetings.
Don't you get the idea we're moving back against that though very, very hard at a very quick pace with NIL and everything else? Hey, we're not hiding behind the guise of we can't give football players or any of these high ranking recruits extra benefits. We give extra benefits. That's the life
Always
we lead
have.
now. That's the life we lead though now publicly.
Sure.
Above board. So all that, I feel like we're moving far against that. And by the way, speaking of which, we talked about it briefly yesterday, but the NIL stuff and all of the discussions about it are raging, and we'll have to talk about that as well. More excuse making being made by even higher ranking coaches. Yesterday we discussed Pat Narduzzi and Jeff Traylor. Today you have Ryan Day coming out talking against it. What the hell? How are you making an excuse at Ohio State? You have everything at your disposal. There's plenty on that to get to as well.
And when they whine about it and they don't name names, you're doing the same to someone else.
Yep.
Look, Alabama didn't hesitate last year taking the best offensive lineman from Vanderbilt.
Right.
They didn't hesitate.
Right. And here's the thing, Brett. If it comes out of Pat Narduzzi's mouth or Jeff Traylor's mouth at middle of the line ACC or Group of Five, I can understand they're a little bit angry with guys they've recruited and they've developed getting taken away from them. I understand that. A guy like Ryan Day, it doesn't hit the same. It just doesn't. You're at Ohio State. Your NIL collective is massive. You shouldn't be complaining about other people stealing recruits on the recruiting trail. You can do the same thing back.
Well, I'm not saying Ryan Day per se, but that ilk, that kind of that prototype, stereotype, that would have been a guy back in the day complaining, or Woody Hayes would have been the guy back in the day complaining of the South coming up there and getting a player from Chillicothe, Ohio.
Yeah, it's but
too bad.
In the end of the day, we do nationwide recruiting at these big places. Ryan Day has nowhere to complain. He really doesn't. But
I don't until somebody names names. I just think it's a noisy gong.
The innuendo is just ridiculous.
Yeah. It is. It's so hypocritical.
If you want people to get put on blast, put them on blast. Don't just. And also Matt Rule coming out with the emoji tweet last night. I think it was about Miami and Oregon and bags that they were giving that didn't come through for certain recruits. It just. Name names and stop doing all the innuendos and all the making everybody do the guesswork. Let's move on from that and put people on blast. If you're going to put them on blast, stop the fake stuff. Now, listener line for us, hit us up all day 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live, see our bright smiling faces, and message us on our socials: Sports56 WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and you can go to our website sports56whbq.com. Now the Grizzlies last night, that was suboptimal. Grizzlies dropped to 19-11 against the Nuggets, 105-91. The Nuggets get on top, and they are now tied with the Grizzlies atop the Western Conference, and they have the tiebreaker as the first of three that the Grizzlies and Nuggets will play this year. Jokic, even though the point output was not fantastic, he's so awesome. 13, 13, and 13. And even when he's not scoring, the effect he has on a game, Brett, it's insane. The craftiness, the passing. I mean, he probably, and I don't think this is going too far by any stretch of the imagination. He's the best 7-foot passer we have ever seen play in the NBA.
He has surpassed who I thought was the best, and he's become that. That's going to be at the end of my top story. But you're right. Now, help me on this, and I probably should know this after 22 years of the Grizzlies in town. Why is it some years you don't play a Western Conference opponent 4 times?
That's above my head. That's somebody else.
But you always play these twice.
Somebody else. Yeah.
One at home, one on the road. But there are some times that you don't catch one of those 4 times.
I'm not totally positive, but that's for someone else.
That's the case this year with Denver.
Yep. Aaron Gordon last night did whatever he wanted, 24, 7, and 4, 3-point line driving, got to the mid-range, hit the boards pretty well. The physicality definitely got after the Grizzlies. But the biggest thing for the Grizzlies is you can't dig yourself a 35-14 hole in the first quarter. Defensively, they were terrible. Shooting, they were terrible. Finishing at the rim, they were terrible. And you can't dig yourself that type of hole and expect to dig yourself up out of it against a team that is as good as the Nuggets.
I fired my warning shot yesterday that I was not going to make too much about last night, win or lose.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself wanting to make more out of it losing than I would, I think, if they had won.
Well, I think whenever we're going to see a loss like
Saturday
this,
in Oklahoma City doesn't help things.
Yeah, Saturday, some of those things carried over. They certainly, the bad shooting, the defensive woes. They're taking a lot of gambles on passes, trying to get into passing lanes, and they're not coming up with anything. They're not being disruptive enough in the grand scheme of things. But the shooting was awful last night. 3 for 15 in the first half, 5 for 26 altogether. And I think there's always, the way they're constructed right this second, Brett, there's always going to be the crutch of, well, Desmond Bane's not in the lineup. And I think it's a fair crutch, but this Grizzlies team has to, we've talked about treading water, staying afloat, and winning games like this. Even without Desmond Bane, they got to go do that. They got to shoot better. They have to find open looks.
But it is getting close to time for cavalry to arrive in full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Probably treaded about all the water that can be treaded.
Yes. And there's a few more things we're going to discuss at length as the show goes along. But the Nuggets, of course, you dig yourself that big deficit, 35-14 in the first quarter. But the Nuggets, if they're going to have Jokic off the floor, you have to find a way to win those bench minutes. And the Grizzlies failed miserably in that regard. Zaire didn't show up, and he hasn't really been showing up since he's been back. Tyus Jones couldn't really hit shots last night. They struggled. And like a guy like Zeke Naji last night. And the Nuggets bench has been a big struggle for them this year. A guy like Zeke Naji was getting what he wanted on the offensive boards, getting to the free throw line. The Grizzlies just failed in that regard last night, and they have been really good in December outside of these last two games with bench scoring and bench efficiency and bench production.
This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com, the one and only Lexus dealership in town, and they wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season and a happy blessed 2023. Call them at 901-334-9673 for any service inquiry. Great offers on all 2023 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500, and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
And that, for me, is early signing day. And what we've seen so far, a lot of emoji attacks. Emoji attacks on Twitter. Matt Rule coming out and calling out Miami and calling out Oregon in emoji fashion. But all of this stuff has been ridiculous, I think, in a lot of ways. But it's always fun for me seeing the athletes sign. We have some guys around the area who got to sign their letter of intent today, the biggest one being Brock Glenn from Lausanne, big quarterback. He signs with Florida State officially. But really what signing day is and has become over the past few years, outside of the Jimbo Fisher #1 recruiting class, it's Bama, it's Georgia, it's Kirby, it's Nick fighting for that #1 spot. Nick Saban up to 6 5-stars already. You look around the country at some of the schools that would be at the top, and it's not the same. Miami has made a rush. Oregon has made a rush. Ohio State, Ryan Day making excuses. But early signing day has caused a whole lot of disruption to the calendar in a lot of ways, and you still see people reeling in a lot of ways because of NIL and everything else going on in college football.
Yeah, I thoroughly detested recruiting mania when it used to be one day in February, and now we have 2 days of it, and most of it won't matter because most of them won't be there in 2 or 3 years again how many today are signing that will have 40 games played for anybody.
But for Tiger fans, good news. Good news so far today.
Well, you always take good news.
A lot of good signees and a couple of surprises. We'll get to that later in the show.
You know, I used to say, tell me in 4 years. Now tell me in about 4 months if you still have everybody. My top story, I'm not going to make too much of it. But the Grizzlies got off to another one of those road games. It was too slow. The deficit became too great. And Nikola Jokic is the best player in the league right now. 14-point loss to fall out of first place. 35 from Ja, but not enough from everyone else. Not enough from Jaren Jackson, not enough from everyone else. It is time to get Desmond Bane back. Maybe it's really close. The Baker's dozen, the triple Baker dozen from Jokic, 13, 13, 13. Best passing big man since he has surpassed it since Bill Walton.
Not top story of the day.
Really, really tough news that we woke up to today. And it's on the heels of Mike Leach and his memorial service, which I thought was so well done. Bob Stoops spoke up. Gardner Minshew showed his face and then spoke as well. I thought it was really well done there at in Starkville yesterday. But on the heels of that, Franco Harris, immaculate reception, Hall of Famer for the Pittsburgh Steelers, dies at 72 years old. And anybody you know that ever had any crosses or sort of got to meet face-to-face with Franco Harris, very kind man, gave back to the city of Pittsburgh. I mean, at the airport, I mean, the guy has a statue, a memorial of himself.
It's great, too, to walk back.
And also, you know, the poetic and tough part of this is the Immaculate Reception is what Franco's very known for. Do you know that the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception is on Friday? So certainly tough. I'd imagine the Steelers are going to memorialize him in a big way this weekend, but hard news, Franco Harris dying at 72.
It is going to be tough. I made a mistake this morning on with Dave. I said he would be just the second to have his number retired. He'll be third. Ernie Stautner forever was the only one. He was the architect of the Steel Curtain. No, he was the architect of the Doomsday defense for the Cowboys, but he forever had number 70. Joe Green went in a few years back, and Franco Harris was going to be the third. You could come up with an easy 10 more they could retire. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Rocky Blyer, Terry Bradshaw, Lynn Swan, John Stallworth, Mel Blount, I mean, Mike Webster. You could go forever with guys just from the 70s. Troy Polamalu recently, Jerome Bettis. But Franco Harris will be third on Saturday night. It won't be a dry eye in the building. My not top story, Tigers' opponent tonight, it's the Tigers. It's against the tape. It's against the mark of improvement. It's not as much about Alabama State as it is about each other and the Tigers' night. Be sharp, get better. Next Thursday, conference play begins in a dreadful AAC. 14-4 or better at minimum is expected in the AAC. So tonight, just compete against yourself. Compete against having to watch that tape tomorrow with teammates.
And I'm going to tease this for later because we'll get into this a lot more around 4:45 when we get into bankroll and we talk about the game in particular. But for Penny, moving forward with these games coming up, not against any world beaters. I mean, you're going to go against teams that you're going to be favored by a fair amount of points against. Is it time to start doing a little bit of experimenting with the offensive end? Do you get Jonathan Lawson a little bit more involved? We'll talk about that later. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day.
Brett Norsworthy for FanDuel. Santa Barkley is back, and this year he's giving new FanDuel customers exactly what you asked for. Unwrap the gift of a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. $2,500 back in free bets when you sign up with promo code SPORTS56. That's $2,500 back if your first bet does not win. Now is the perfect time to give FanDuel a shot. The app is easy to use. They're always giving you great promotions, and when you win, you'll get paid instantly. That's one of the great things about FanDuel. They're not holding your money. You get it back. There's so many great things about FanDuel, the live odds, the boost, the same game parlays, but when you win, you get your money back. So see for yourself why FanDuel, They're America's #1 sports book for a reason, and get in the holiday spirit with a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in free bets from Santa Barkley when you sign up with promo code SPORTS56. How about on the New Orleans Bowl tonight? I like South Alabama. That must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets. They expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
First break of the day is on the way, and when we come back, Alex Kuhn will join us.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect machine. It's really a miracle of evolution.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back in and going. Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. And joining us via the phone line is Alex Kuhn from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids. Also from WBBM News Radio in Chicago. He is the studio producer for Dub Bears for them on Twitter at Alex Kuhn 523. And we're related. Alex, what's happening?
Not a whole lot, guys. What's going on?
Merry Christmas to you. And by the way, I think Christmas came a little early for me. I think I hadn't opened it and I haven't peeked, but I think my Christmas gift came in from you today.
Yeah, I think you're gonna like it, and I think Memphis Tigers fans are gonna like it too.
Oh, okay. So you're giving me a hint. Great.
I'm giving you a big time hint.
Rock on. Rock on. Is it your favorite day of the year, just like it is Brett and I's? Was early signing day? No.
Negative.
Okay.
Negative. This is not my favorite day of the year.
Okay.
I couldn't stand the old one in February. I really can't stand this one.
Yeah, I mean, whatever day it is.
The old one where the recruiting guys had every high school lineman running a 4.4, but yet the NFL Combine has never had a lineman run a 4.4.
Yeah, it's never happened, but they do it. And look, Gabe, when you were being recruited, obviously, I followed recruiting, and even before then, when I was younger, it was something that I followed closely. But nowadays, it's so much happens with the transfer portal and with guys not panning out that once spring ball rolls around, I see who's with the team and how they're practicing and the buzz that comes from the coaching staff. Then I'll pay attention to it. Yes, there are some outstanding players out there, and there are some big losses for teams. And I know as somebody who is covering Iowa, they lost a big one in 5-star recruit Caden Proctor, who left them for Alabama. And it's a lot more interesting now with money being just like out in the open, but still, no, you can't pay me enough to get too wrapped up in it.
The worst part is it's national super fans slide in the DMs of 17 and 18-year-old day. That's everyone's favorite part, isn't it? Right? It's everyone's favorite part.
It's just
what do you make? And speaking of the money, and you bring that up off top, so I want to get there. What do you make of all of the innuendo? Matt Rule putting it out there, Pat Narduzzi talking about it, Jeff Traylor tweeting about it, all the innuendo around NIL, transfer portal, and guys being taken off of their rosters, recruits being taken out of their class. I mean, what do you make of all of them sort of hiding behind innuendo, if you will, when it comes to that?
Not surprising. I think it's the boogeyman now. It's something that is pointed to by these coaches. And, yeah, college football coaches used to have complete and total control over everything. Mm-hmm. There was not one part of their program that they didn't have control over, and not one player in their program that they didn't have power over. So just that little teensy-weensy bit of power for the players. And, yeah, I see that coaches are not a fan of it, but there are some that are, and there are some that are using it to their advantage, and then there are some that are using it to their advantage and then cry when it doesn't work out, like Jimbo Fisher. Mm-hmm. So it's just amazing to kind of see all the different coaches and their different takes on it and how it kind of fits the struggles individually that they're going through with this new era. Now, I will say this. It is very much whenever one of the coaches says, we don't know what's legal and what's not legal. It's the wild, wild west, and we don't. We need regulations. We need to know what's legal and what's not legal. Completely fair. The NCAA, I've discussed many times, has botched this. You can't go from like not allowing any type of compensation to just no rules and regulations. But they did that, and now it's Charlie Baker, the former governor, current governor of Massachusetts, and the new president of the NCAA. It's going to be on him to figure out what kind of guardrails can be put up, and if tampering can be cut down on at all. You're not going to stop it completely.
Right.
But, hey, in the NFL and in the NHL and in all these professional leagues, it is illegal. People do get caught, and people do get punished. Can we even get to that point?
Yeah, here's my thing. When it comes to these coaches coming out there, there's some I feel no sympathy for. Ryan Day coming out and trying to complain about it. Come on, you're at Ohio State. You have everything at your disposal. Your NIL collectives probably got plenty of money to go get guys. It is what it is. Now, I'll say this. With Pat Narduzzi, Jeff Traylor, and other guys in that situation, middle-of-the-line ACC, in the group of five, I feel like there's a lot of people out there in the media and otherwise acting like they can't be at least a little bit mad. I think we need to take it case by case. Again, Ryan Day, I have no sympathy for him. Dabo Swinney, if he comes out and says something, I don't have sympathy for him. But can't we sort of have a little bit of sympathy for some of those smaller guys in these situations? I know that the game is the game, but the game is rigged for the bigger guys, and it can be frustrating.
I will have sympathy when they name names.
Yeah, and there's the other thing. Like, Pat Narduzzi, if you're going to make an accusation, come out and back it up.
I agree.
Come out, man. And as far as, like, Jeff Traylor and the top of the group of five coaches, you guys, it works both ways. This is a two-way street. And, yeah, you're never going to be Alabama.
Right.
You were never going to be Alabama before. Like, this is the amazing thing. Iowa loses this recruit, Caden Proctor, to Alabama. And we're having the discussion about name, image, and likeness. Like Alabama getting a recruit over Iowa is some sort of shocking revelation. So make yourself a destination. Understand that it's going to be difficult at times. You're going to have to deal with some ups and downs. Lean into the transfer portal and strategically do what you can with name, image, and likeness. As far as Ryan Day, how did Ohio State not know that once this came into effect, you're going to need to have a certain amount of money to contend with schools nationally, and they're getting certainly outbid at this point, but they knew it was coming. And so that's kind of the interesting part of all of this, that all these different coaches, some of them, yeah, I do have a little bit of sympathy, but if look at Oregon, right? Like, they lost so many players when Kenny Dillingham decided to go to Arizona State. What did Dan Lanning do?
Recovered.
Went out and recruited and recovered and got some other ones.
Yep.
So it's, as I said, and even Ryan Silverfield, they went out and got a 1,000-yard rusher from Old Dominion. Play the game.
Yep.
And if you play it right, I think you can be successful wherever you're at.
Alex, I'm with you. I would just like for everybody to kind of be consistent and remember that they're also – so you might – I'm just going to use an example. You might be Texas San Antonio and Jeff Traylor, and you feel like you're being cherry-picked. Well, it all kind of trickles downhill. Now, Coach Traylor, don't you cherry pick from Texas State or get get that left guard you badly needed from UTEP or from a smaller school that plays FBS football. Yeah. But also this one on the hypocrisy front. Remember, there are other sports too, like Syracuse, for example. If they got mad that somebody cherry picked from them, remember, you're doing it in basketball to somebody.
Yeah, well, drawing back to the Iowa situation. They, on the same day that Caden Proctor decided to split to Alabama, they got somebody who was committed to Eastern Illinois. They complained about the player not honoring his commitment. They took somebody who was committed to another school. It's the chain of college football. It's not new. Whether there's money out in the open for it or not, yes, this acting like from all of these fans of college teams that their team is totally on the up and up, and maybe that's kind of a gripe that I do have with. I've talked about this holier than thou programs that say, "Oh no, if we offer a kid, we intend to sign him. Oh no, we don't negatively recruit. Oh no, we don't take players from who are committed to other schools." Baloney. You're lying.
Ryan Day saying that today was just the biggest hypocrisy of it. I remember Urban Meyer back in the day. Urban did not care at Ohio State if anybody was committed elsewhere. They made their name off stealing recruits. I mean,
and he shouldn't.
Al, if you remember my recruiting process,
Until
I
signing day.
decommitted and recommitted 2 days before signing day when I was committed. People consistently, if you're committed almost, if you look historically, if you're committed, the recruiting process starts back over. People start to be more interested in you. It's just sort of human nature.
My favorite from back in the day, Alex, was when we knew it was widespread largesse of money going on. We knew it. Everybody did.
Yeah.
But what I loved is when player A signs with somebody else, well, they cheated, but when they sign with them, it's because of the flowers and the trees and the beautiful campus, and we're a family here. But we would never pay them more money than that other place would.
It's just out in the open now, and it's in a way it's chaos, of course, but it's like kind of refreshing to see how everybody's reacting to it, how everybody now can see the hypocrisy going on, how everybody can now see what's been going on for a long time out in the open, and letting certain coaches spout off.
And I thought Jimbo was going to tell us where all the bodies were buried back in May, when he was having his famous rant. He said everybody knows it. No, we don't know it. Tell us, Jimbo. Do our work for us.
He also said we're here, so get used to it. So there was that from Jimbo too.
Jimbo now wants to be able to pay, but hey, you can't leave.
Yeah,
and that's fair. Like, I do think that I think that at some point there will be certain level of guardrails to guard it against tampering, but there's only a certain amount that you can do. Jimbo, you've got to make your place a destination where people want to come play. And no, that doesn't mean that everybody needs $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
It means that you're there to win games.
You can develop.
You have a developmental system that sends people to the next level, and everybody gets better. As you said, development and a playmaker, a place where playmakers want to come play and stay. I don't buy this whole thing that guys are just ready to move on after 1 year. Some are. That is going to happen. But if you build a program that into a destination where playmakers want to be and feel like they can develop and move on to the next level, you're going to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Now, stick with me here, guys. And this is we'll sort of end it here. And I understand, in the history of college football and recruiting, it's been a part of it. And there's always been guys in lower levels that want to make the jump to higher levels once they get their production and they're developed the right way. I get that. It's a lot easier these days because of the transfer portal and the one-time transfer movement. But I get this, and I'm guilty of it in a lot of ways too. The adapt or die conversation, right? The adapt or die conversation. I agree that you need to adapt or you're going to die in a lot of situations. But I think there's guys out there, there's programs out there that can adapt, they can do what they can in NIL. They can raise enough money, and they can still die. Because we look around the country, and this is true all time in college football, donor bases, fan bases, program support are not all built the same. So that's where I talk about maybe I feel a little sympathy, because a guy like Jeff Traylor, he's done everything he can. Frank Harris just got a $500,000 NIL deal to stay at UTSA, yet at the same time, it's still very possible for some of his young players to be taken away by a bigger program. Now, it's always been true, but it's a lot easier, and the tampering is through the roof. So that's where I come from with all of this entire discussion.
You're at a program, you played for a program that now is in a very similar position to what Jeff Traylor is in at UTSA. You think that if a player at Memphis that shows well as freshman or sophomore year that coaches around the country aren't going to come looking? Oh, wait, they already have.
Yep.
There's a receiver at USC right now that is a perfect example of this. So, yeah, I do agree that it is definitely frustrating for those coaches, but I think we're going to get into an era now where if you coach at that level, you know it comes with the territory. When you go coach junior college football, you know what the system looks like, and you have to make an adjustment into how you recruit, how you develop, and how you put together a team that may only be together for a year, that is only together really for a year until you recycle and get new players and find the best way to win with what you've got. It's not going to be like that, but you coach at the Group of 5 level. At this point, you kind of know what you're getting into. And once again, not new at all. We've seen, not with the transfers, but look at what the turnover rate is with those coaches, and has been for a very long time. When you were in the AAC, there were not a lot of coaches sticking around for very long. They either got fired or they were moving on to the Power 5. And so, unfortunately, that's been the way of life at that level.
It's just exacerbated by what's going on.
It's exacerbated, but at the same time, it is now easier for those coaches to go in the portal and bring back Power 5 talent to their program.
Understood. The game is the game. There's no question. Alex, that was great stuff. Appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. And he is Alex Kuhn, at Alex Kuhn 523 from KGYM Radio in Cedar Rapids, and from WBBM News Radio in Chicago. Let's go ahead and get to our final break. Hour number 1. We'll be back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Kelly Erb with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and I just had to ask, Sheldon, did you really just buy a set of golf clubs and you never tried them out?
Yep, that's right.
And Sheldon, didn't you tell me whenever you buy a car, you never test drive it?
Again? Yep.
Don't you think that's pretty bizarre, since you always tell people to talk to 2 or 3 agents when they sell their home?
Yes, it is. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and I'm also with Mark Spensdorf Realtors with Kelly. It's funny, we tell people that you should always talk to more than one agent to find out not only what they think about your home, but more importantly, what they will do for you. And you really need to make sure and include us in the interview process.
I agree, because how are you going to find out about our strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option? And as people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
That's Sheldon Rosengarten and Kelly Erb. Call or email us at memphisrelocate.com or 682-1868. Do it now, 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing, and they've only been around for 5 years. Choose from hundreds of choices of wood, tile, vinyl, and carpet. Timmy, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood, tile, vinyl, and carpets. Jenkins meets all your needs from renovations to home building to installation. Enjoy buying excellent quality products at awesome prices. They're all about customer service at Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando. Call 662-469-9350.
Coming to Peacock.
Fellas, I'm getting married.
From the creator of The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday.
Come with us to Quinn's wedding. Guaranteed to put a smile on your face.
And executive producer of Insecure.
They want to make unfinished business into a movie.
That book caused a lot of drama. Get your popcorn ready.
It's gonna be just like old times, only better. The Best Man, The Final Chapters. A new limited series streaming December 22nd. Only on Peacock.
Let's get lit!
Corky's Barbecue. Hi, this is Jimmy Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We are honored that so many Memphians have made our holiday hams and our hickory smoked turkeys a tradition for their family's Thanksgiving and Christmas meals. Whether you want a smoked turkey, honey glazed spiral sliced ham, or you want the entire feast with our incredible side dishes, Corky's makes it easy for you. Why do all the work? All you have to do is heat it up and enjoy. We sold out last year, so don't wait. Reserve yours today at corkysbbq.com.
Flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
0650 acquisition fee, 30,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, 0 security deposit. Forte PE 545,584, MSRP 22,150. Sorrento PG 172,274, MSRP 32,720. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through KFA Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/3/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Mid-South Randy here at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah, and we're gearing up for the season of giving back. And if you buy a car now through December 31st, Kia will make a donation to our very own St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Hey, Jeff, my man, took the day off to visit Santa to get his list ready, so I've got the helm today. And to celebrate, we've got 2023 Kia Forte LXS, 41 MPG Highway 234 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And 2023 Kia Sorrento LX 388 a month, 36-month lease, $34.99 due at signing. Plus, you always get the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And if we don't have it today, we'll order it for you. You won't pay over MSRP at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. And like Jeff says, whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Now, as much as early signing day and signing day does perturb me in a lot of ways, it does. In the past couple of years with NIL, it has brought out some of the funniest storylines and quotes that you could potentially write. One, Travis Hunter, we know Jackson State wide receiver, defensive back, #1 recruit in last year's class, played for Prime this year, helped lead them to a 12-1 season, or 11-1 season, I should say. Travis Hunter today, and by the way, a lot of people thought he was going to end up in Colorado, and still very possible, but Georgia and all these other schools, Alabama, all trying to get involved in his recruitment because he is a great player. He says he won't announce his commitment until he gets to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Businessman.
What's he up to?
Businessman. How about that?
He's up to 81.5K, I believe.
Oh, he'll get there.
It's hilarious, though, because these kids nowadays realize the business that they can create for themselves.
What kind of content is he pumping out at the YouTube?
I haven't even. It's just a bunch of vlogs.
Yeah, they're all vlogs.
Well, I mean, it's
92.2
there we go. We're
thousand
getting
now.
close.
Hey, way to go.
We're getting close. If he does all that, gets to 100,000, just says, "I'm going with Prime."
I just subscribed to him.
Colorado. You did?
You're welcome, all the people out there that want to know where he's going.
These kids are businessmen nowadays, Brett. It's a different day and age. It really is. And now,
they were business people in the day too.
But this is
nobody can know about.
This is above board and a lot different in a lot of ways. Now,
in the day, it was often a coach. Well, maybe sometime a family member, a big brother, a dad, an uncle.
I'll say this: there's a slight limit to.
Sometimes it was people they called uncles that weren't really uncles.
There's always been a slight limit to illegal money, right? Like there's a little bit of a limit. The above the board stuff, creating a different revenue stream for yourself through YouTube and everything else, that's a different type of business that can create a lot more money for yourself. Now, one of the best quotes of the day, I have to just let's hand it off. Here's Dabo Sweeney today on what he thinks NIL.
Thinking through it, and I mean, for me, we built this program on NIL. We really did, and it's probably different than what you're thinking, though. We built this program in God's name, image, and likeness, and that's how I look at it. So
that's as good as it gets, right, Brett? That's fantastic.
I hope he believes that.
That's fantastic. And some of the jokes that have come out of this, one of my good buddies, Harrison Tinzer, who's still a student at Florida, but does work with a 7-on-7 company, South Florida Express. A lot of guys have spit out of there. He says, NIL this, NIL that. Let me tell you about a man who is NAIL'd to a cross. There's another one. Someone put out saying, some say crucifying Jesus was the original unnecessary roughness penalty, but he took that 15-yard flag for us.
Dabo really thinks he may be the heir apparent to kind of the Bobby Bowden image of college coaching. And in the day, I thought Bobby Bowden was Jerry Tarkanian with a Southern accent.
Hugh Freeze said he did all this stuff in the name of the
I'm
Lord
sure he
too.
did.
So there's that. Dabo. Generational stuff right there. I mean, that's once in a generation lying up there. All that cheating and recruiting, yeah, we did that in the name of the Lord. Gosh,
and in rowdy numbers and deposits.
Yeah, my gosh, those McDonald's bags, everything else, the Chick-fil-A bags, whatever it was, Chick-fil-A bags, yeah, in the name of the Lord. Now, that'll do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2 is on the way, but let me tell you about a good place around town that you need to go to. With family in town for the holidays, it's Bell Tavern. There's no place in Memphis I'd rather go to for a night out with friends or a bite to eat than Bell Tavern. Open 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday, and 2 to 8 p.m. on Sunday. You know about 117 Prime on Union. All you do is walk through the dining room, and you access the best bar in Memphis. Perfect place to start your night with a gourmet bite to eat, burgers, sandwiches, and starters, and end your night with the coldest beer in town and craft cocktails that you can only find in Barbaro Alley, tucked in between 2nd and Main. It's not that loud, obnoxious sports bar where everybody's jumping up and down and being loud. It's relaxed. You can sit down, you can have a drink, you can watch the game and enjoy yourself at Bell Tavern. For information daily, 2 ways to find it. BellTavern.com. Again, that's BellTavern.com. Or the number, I will repeat it, 901-249-6580. Again, 901-249-6580 for Bell Tavern. Hour number 2 is upon us. On the other side, and for hour number 2 as a whole, we're going to have a lot of bull talk. We have Steve Earhart for our final visit of the year, the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. But coming up next, David Fletcher will join us. He's the executive director of the Tax Act Texas Bowl.
The season has changed. You know how I know? It's finally here, the Family Leisure Christmas Sale. Excellent deals on pool tables, shuffleboards, and saunas. Oh, we're just beginning. Tired and sore from shopping? Check out the huge selection in stock of hot tubs and massage chairs. Oh, and you can surprise the kids with the best stuff, like a new arcade, a game table, even a play gym. Gifts for the whole family to enjoy and enjoy together. Also on sale, theater seating, outdoor kitchens and grills, patio furniture, and fire pits. Merry Christmas from our family to yours. That's Family Leisure of Memphis. Every year we wait. They always deliver. They've done it again. The Family Leisure Christmas Sale is happening at I-40 and Whitten Road. That's 2120 Whitten Road to be exact. That's the place of shopping heaven. Family Leisure, where family and fun all come together.
Biscuits and Jams is the best new restaurant in the Mid-South with the best food and the best events. Try the shrimp and crawfish Creole Benedict, named one of the best one-of-a-kind breakfast dishes by the Commercial Appeal. And be sure to be at Biscuits and Jams Thursday nights for karaoke and music bingo. Biscuits and Jams, homemade food made with local ingredients. Open 8 to 2 Tuesday through Friday and 9 to 3 Saturday and Sunday at 5806 Stage Road. Order online at biscuitsandjams.com. For the best food and the best events, Biscuits and Jams is simply the best.
Locally owned and operated since 1885, Barton's has always been your hometown building supply store. And now Barton's is your go-to for replacement car remotes and key fobs. Introducing DuraKey. Dura key replacements and renewal kits can be programmed in-store while you wait. Plus, save up to 60% compared to dealer prices. Visit your West Memphis Bartons at 215 West Broadway today for help with your car remote replacement and all of your home repair and remodel needs.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test-driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253 DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Dad, come on, you're going to fall in the barbecue.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Hour 2 is here on Wednesday of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. I am Gabe Kuhn. He's Brett Stats Norsworthy. Super producer Brian Dacus on the other side of the glass producing the program. Hit us up while we're here. Listener line's there for you, 901-360-8255. You can also message us on our social, Sports 56 WHBQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Ole Miss will meet Texas Tech in the Tax Act Texas Bowl Wednesday, December 28th at 8 p.m. And to talk about it and discuss with us, we had him on last week. It was a pleasure then. It's a pleasure now. It's David Fletcher, the executive director of the Tax Act Texas Bowl. David, how's it going?
Gabe, great to hear your voice again. Brent, happy holidays to you both.
Happy holidays.
We're 1 week closer to the fun. Next Wednesday is going to be quite a night here in Houston as the Ole Miss Rebels will take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders in the 2022 Tax Act Texas Bowl, and we are looking forward to seeing everybody down here in Houston.
David, I'm looking forward to being there. Tell our listeners right now, a lot of Ole Miss fans in this area, and just a year ago, Texas Tech was here in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. They've got a few fans. Tell our listeners how they can still get tickets and what they can expect to see from you great people with the Tax Act Texas Bowl.
Well, Brent, we do have a handful of tickets still left. TaxActTexasBowl.com, best place to get it. I'm not saying that one team or the other is not going to have a great crowd, not going to be a lot of energy from both, because we know that will definitely be the case both on and off the field. But we don't want the Ole Miss fans to let the Texas natives from Lubbock take over the building. So get out there while you can. TaxActTexasBowl.com. It's a fun week here in Houston, full of food, entertainment, and of course football. All for a great cause, as we've got a wonderful charity partner down here. But you know what, Brett, Gabe, the bowl week experience for here will be getting going here. Just a few days as the teams get into town. And a lot of our fan events are really focused around Tuesday night and game day out here at NRG Stadium. So full list of everything at the website, taxacttexasbowl.com. And I would say that from a personal perspective, it's the most wonderful time of the year. You got food, you got drink, and you got football, and that's a pretty good combination for any of us in this business.
I like all three. I am really looking forward to being at my first Texas Bowl. I've never been to that game, never got a chance to go to the old Bluebonnet Bowl. A lot of history with college football in Houston. Now, what is your policy on the roof at NRG? Because I'm looking at the forecast for next Wednesday, and we could play with that roof wide open. It looks great next Wednesday.
You know, we're just like most of the country. We're bearing down for quite a freeze over the next few days. We do have the chance to open up our roof on occasion here, but I think 72 and sunny inside for a night game is great. So we expect the roof will be closed, and that should just even further bring the noise level inside NRG Stadium to a deafening level as these two teams and their fan bases get ready for what I think is going to be an offensive explosion and a whole lot of fun here next Wednesday night.
Now, when are the fellas showing up? When do both teams show up on site?
Yeah, so Texas Tech will be first in market. They'll get in here on Saturday. Ole Miss will be coming in on Sunday after they celebrate Christmas in the morning with their families. So, our full week of activities will start on Monday. We've got a full bowl week experience for the teams, the coaches, the families, the media friends that come into town. A lot of private events that are hosted, almost 30 total over the 3-day period for the different constituents. But we do have a couple of those public events I mentioned, which I would love to see Ole Miss fans at. Our team luncheon on Tuesday afternoon is a fundraiser for our charity partner, DePelchin Children's Center, which is an incredible cause here in the Houston community, oldest children's charity in Houston. And then on Tuesday night, we get the party started, if you will, with our Carbach kickoff concert, a free show over at the Rustic downtown. Texas music superstar Colby Cooper will be the headliner on that. Just need to go to the website, download your free ticket, and come out and enjoy the night before all the tailgating and all the other activities that will be going on out here at NRG Stadium on Wednesday, starting at 4 o'clock ahead of the 8 p.m. kickoff that night.
David, we're going to have Steve Earhart from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl about 4:30. And I know you're good friends with Steve and with Harold Grader. In fact, I got to be friends with you through Harold Grader, introducing us several years ago, a long time ago now, at SEC Media Days. What's the biggest challenge right now in the bowl business?
Well, I think there's certainly a lot of, and I also say start Brent. Yes, Steve and Harold, two of the best in the business. Great gentlemen, and appreciate their friendship. They've got a good one right there in your market with Arkansas and Kansas. And so, look, I mean, the reality is there's so much transition in the college football universe right now. You're starting to see some of the dominoes fall. The college football playoff expansion, which I would say is a great thing for all college fans and the industry, and then the reality of what the start date of that is. You still need conference realignment to settle itself, and again, I think you're starting to see some of those dominoes fall. But at the end of the day, the college football postseason is going to continue to be an incredibly important part of the sports landscape. So meaningful to all of the participants that are able to take advantage of the hospitality of all of these communities, welcoming them in. The programming is always very highly watched, and fans, really don't ever shy away from an opportunity to see more football. Some of the challenges that are certainly there are perception, and just what does the future of the bowl season look like with this playoff expansion? Personally, I think it strengthens it. I think there are going to be a lot of opportunities to see the landscape of college football maybe spread out some of the strength a little bit. You're going to see more interest in parts of the country that have not been as represented in the current model going forward, and I think that will raise the level of college football as a whole from an interest and from from an experience perspective, which is a great thing for everybody.
I agree, David, and I think the future is very bright for everybody that's already in business and going forward. Now, I think I'm pretty sure I'm for those games when we go to the 16-team model, that first round, the 5 versus 12 and 4 versus 11. I think I'm pretty much for that being on campus, but it's not a certainty it stays there. And for a city and a stadium like NRG that will host the national championship game next year, it's hosted Super Bowls, it's going to host the Final Four this spring. If we ever encompass those games into a bowl rotation, you'll be right in the middle of that.
Well, Houston has been one of the leading destinations for events in this country, particularly sporting events over the last 15 years. We've hosted more major sporting events than any other market. And, as we've talked about on this show before, and you guys have seen with some of the events you've been able to make it down here for, it starts with the people, and we've got a very collaborative spirit down here. People are working hard to really showcase a wonderful hospitality community. We've got the infrastructure. We've got a lot of the things, that help make these events work really, really well. And our event here in Houston, the TaxAct Texas Bowl, is certainly another example of that. At the end of the day, Brent, I think what we really will see is a lot of learnings over the next few years as they try and figure out, how does this really unfold? The contract is really only the last 2 years, and there has really been no discussion publicly, at least, as to what that could look like. So ultimately, at the end of the day, fans want to be able to go and watch their teams compete at the highest level, and the playoff will certainly allow them to do that. Bowl season will continue to be an important part of that equation, a very important part, because for those teams that do not participate in the playoff, there's an opportunity to still win your last game. And you and I both know that winning that last game not only is really a great feeling for a program as it heads off into the offseason, but it's a huge catalyst for success in the following year. The last 5 winners of our game here in Houston at the TaxAct Texas Bowl have played in a New Year's Six game the following season. So it's something that I know the coaches and certainly the administrators are looking at, probably even some of the student athletes, as they look at how they prepare for these postseason games. That win in bowl season catapults you into a much different stratosphere the next season, wherever that game is played.
David, if you're uncomfortable with this line of questioning, you could certainly slap it right back in my face. I don't think you will, though, based on our interactions. I look at how the bowl season has gone, and we talk opt-outs. Opt-outs are in the topic of conversation when it comes to the narratives around bowl season and everything else. It still gets watched. I still enjoy every single bowl that comes on across the way. All of the TV. It's fantastic during this time of year. But behind the scenes, what kind of conversations, if any, do you guys have about that in particular, and what can be done in the future to maybe strengthen that and make that less of a topic of conversation?
Well, I think going back to what I said earlier, Gabe, about just there's so much transition going on in college athletics, particularly on the football side. I think there's a variety of factors that are impacting the game right now as a whole. Yeah. Certainly the transition with NIL and the opportunities that is creating for student athletes, the transfer portal and the calendar and the different I'd say the different opinions on how that affects the postseason and the seasons as a whole. No stranger to this conversation is the movements of coaches and how that affects and impacts a program's ability to stay on track with what they're doing. At the end of the day, I think there are a lot of factors that, and opt-outs being as well, one of them, are there. There are so many more examples of student athletes going in and continuing to play, be a part of something special with their teammates. They've worked all year long to achieve a goal, and they get opportunities for showcasing themselves on a big stage one more time, or one or two more times as it relates to their future stock. So you see it this week with Alabama and how they're approaching it. They have some fantastic players that will be playing on Sundays. each has an individual decision to make along the way, but our responsibility is to create the best experience we can for those individuals when they come to our events. I know as an industry, we work very, very hard and do talk about that extensively as we plan for the years ahead and the games in front of us. And I think ultimately you're going to see more of that to try and enhance that experience and create an environment that is more valuable. And ultimately, at the end of the day, more often than not, you're going to see those student athletes continue to play in the games. And if not, that's a personal decision, and you have to respect that as they look to do what's best for them going forward.
That's right, David. I've always said we don't own them. We can't make them do what we want them to do. But if they want to play, they can. If they don't, there's not any way we can make them play. One more thing, then we want to give another ticket plug. Our guest is David Fletcher, the executive director of the TaxAct Texas Bowl. He also works for the Houston Texans. And David, going forward, and Gabe would tell you I'm an idea guy, and it's really easy to spend somebody else's money when you have a big idea. So I'm going to spend your money here. And y'all did such a great job, and you do such a great job with y'all's kickoff classic, the early season game.
Yep.
Some people say preseason game. It's not a preseason game. It's an in-season kickoff classic, early season game. What if some enterprising bowl? I'll go to Detroit because they have a great stadium at Ford Field. What if Detroit decided, okay, we're not going to play along in the postseason anymore, but we're going to try to maybe double our purse per team, and we're going to try to move our game to the opening weekend of a game that's already regularly scheduled. Let's say Michigan State and Purdue, somebody like that, and they try their model earlier in the year and call it the Motor City Bowl or whatever.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, the free market certainly dictates how our events are seen, and when and if a certain market is able to explore an idea like that. At the end of the day, there are multiple examples of neutral site games already happening in the market, whether it be the traditional ones like Army Navy, or whether it be Texas Oklahoma, or the kickoff games like the Texas kickoff we've had here in Houston that give fans an opportunity to see matchups that they may not typically get to see because of conference alignments or scheduling or whatever. So at the end of the day, those are business decisions. I think as an enterprise, the bowl season is going to continue to try and innovate. We're going to try and create the best possible experience we can wherever in the calendar that may fall. And I think as an industry, we're going to continue to work really hard to ensure that these very cherished community assets continue to be part of the fabric of college football going forward. And that's really what we can do.
Mm-hmm. No question. But David, looking so much forward to December 28th. One more time, let's get a ticket plug, and then we'll let you on your way.
You got it, guys. Hey, TaxActTexasBowl.com is the website. Details on Bowl Week, tickets, experience packages. Looking forward to a fantastic showcase here in Houston next Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, NRG Stadium. If you're not able to make it down here, love for you to tune in on ESPN as we get the stage set for Texas Tech and Ole Miss in the 2022 TaxAct Texas Bowl.
Awesome stuff. David, always appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys, look forward to seeing you. Happy holidays again, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. Happy holidays to you.
That was David Fletcher from the TaxAct Texas Bowl, and look forward to being in Houston. That game 1 week from today. We'll visit with Steve Earhart about 4:30. It'll be exactly 1 week to the ball's on the tee at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl next Wednesday. And then next Wednesday night, a later kickoff, 8 o'clock. Ole Miss pregame will come on about 6 after Ole Miss Tennessee basketball. And I'll be at NRG Stadium, great stadium and a great event. Look forward to that. Over 200 Memphis area Jason's Deli associates wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holidays, and a Happy 2023. And thank you so much for this year and the last few years that we all know have been a very challenging time for everyone out there in life and in business. And Jason's Deli, they had to adapt, and like we talk about in recruiting, they sure had to do it. Never could have imagined that many to-go boxes and that much delivered out to the car and two places, but they had to do it, whether it's dining in, to go, or delivery. Jason's Deli, they're there for us, and they've been there for us through all these years. We appreciate them. Wholesome food forever. It's a family thing, and this time of year on these bitterly cold days, like right now, you're thinking about dinner tonight, stop by one of the Jason's Deli, whether it's at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and in Cordova, and get soup for the whole family. Get the chili, the Texas-style chili. That's beanless. That's my favorite. Get that, or just the chicken noodle or broccoli and cheese, spicy seafood gumbo, fire-roasted tortilla. Do that. Get that for tonight for everyone. Have it around for all the games and all the family coming in and out over these next week or so into the new year from Jason's Deli. All the salads, the Mesa's chicken salad, the chicken club salad, the Big Chef salad, the chicken Caesar salad, all good. My favorite, the taco salad. And when you're in these locations, that great salad bar with over 30 items to choose from. Last week, Gabe and Greg Ash and I were there, and I think Greg had one of all 30 items from the salad bar on that monstrosity he built and finished off at Jason's Deli. It's all about choice there. Whether you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, you'll be delighted at Jason's Deli. Plenty of organic food to choose from. Catering anytime, anywhere. And if you're at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, or in Cordova, wrap it up with the complimentary free ice cream. And as always, check them out online at jasonsdeli.com.
It is early signing day, so I will get to the highlights and the lowlights of the Memphis Tigers recruiting class so far. I think they're second right now, according to 247 Sports, in the group of 5, right behind UTSA and Jeff Traylor's squad.
That's great.
But as of right this second, the notable signees are pretty interesting. O-line was going to be a big emphasis going into this class, and they, I think, landed 2 guys that are SEC bounce backs that certainly can help them. Chris Morris, of course, from Pure Academy, committed last week, and he's a guy 6'5", 310 pounds that certainly can help at one of the tackle spots. He is coming from Hutch, JUCO, and he's been there for 2 years, so certainly a guy that can jump in and be a plug and play. The surprise of the day, though, LSU transfer portal signee Xavier Hill commits and signs to Memphis. He was an LSU offensive lineman, started 2 games his redshirt freshman year, 6'4", 325, and he's a guy who has experience at both tackle spots and a guy who can move inside. But this is where you need to start, I think, when you talk about the run game and you talk about the woes with the offense in managing a game. Offensive line has to be the biggest emphasis, and it looks like Ryan Silverfield and that staff has put an emphasis on it.
Yeah, and all year, Gabe, you referenced it's just got to be better offensive line play, and that would really dictate. Well, of course, it dictates the run game, and then that would make Seth Hennigan so much better, and potentially better. And we know that for really good teams, it starts there. Next year in the newly refashioned AAC. I know the dates haven't been announced, but do we know the opponents yet for next year? For the Tigers, do we know if the Tigers will play Rice or not next year?
I have to go back up in here. I have them somewhere in my notes. Let me check really quick. But yes, so next year, home SMU, Tulane, South Florida Navy. No Rice next year. The away opponents will be North Texas, UAB, Charlotte Temple.
Oh darn! I was hoping to get JT Daniels where we could complete everybody in college football has seen JT Daniels play in their stadium.
Don't get Rice until 2025 at home and 2026 on the road. But
where will he be then? He'll get a loophole and play somewhere else by then.
And what's bizarre to me too is all the USC quarterback recruits under Clay Helton. A lot of good ones gone. And transfer portal, and I didn't even realize Keaton Slovis got in the transfer portal again this year. But the fall for JT Daniels, Brett's pretty insane in the grand scheme of things.
It feels like he's having a blast.
Well, I'm sure he is, but at the same time, USC, then Georgia, then West Virginia, then you ask for a house and $1 million NIL deal, and you end up at Rice.
Why not?
That can't be the greatest. I mean, there's no way he's getting a massive NIL deal at Rice, respectfully.
And Gabe, I know it's changing times, but can you imagine walking in and telling Drew Kaiser, hey, man, I'm out of here. I'm going to Mizzou.
No. But that's what it is these days. That's what it is these days.
Or him walking in and going, you know what? Coach Tuberville or Coach Malzahn just called me, and I'm staying home going to Auburn.
I don't think he'll mind me telling this. There was a situation when Fuente left for Virginia Tech, where he was offered to follow them there, and he didn't. So, speaking of Drew
right?
Kaiser, interesting you bring up that name.
I was looking at somebody's game notes, and color analyst on radio is going to be Justin Fuente on a national radio package.
How about it? There we go. I
bet he'll be good.
I was surprised. He will be. I was surprised he didn't get that North Texas job, Brett. That blew me away.
Stunner.
That blew me away. I thought he was certainly going to end up there.
We thought that, suspected that back to October.
Yeah, and he was part of the names that they talked to, interviewed, the whole 9 yards. It just ended up giving it elsewhere. Also on the Tigers signing day, a couple of things worth mentioning. Old Dominion transfer Blake Watson, who ran for 1,100 yards last year, is going to be coming to Memphis. He officially signs, and that just sort of adds to a running back room that I think is still talented enough. You still have Jay Ducker. Sutton Smith is a guy who's come along. But again, it comes down to O-line and what they can do paving the way.
Tell me what kind of player from Northwest Junior College, Kevin Diaz, tight end, signed with Arkansas State today.
Kevin Diaz is a good player, really good out in open space blocking. He's certainly a slasher tight end. He's not a guy that catches a whole bunch of passes, although he's available and willing to do that. But he's a guy you can move out on the edge. You can make blocks there. He's in line. You can back him off the ball as a wing, and he can make blocks that way. He's a good all around tight end though. That's a good pickup there for Arkansas State. Had an issue late in the year with a broken arm, but he came back for the national playoff game and was fully healthy.
Thank you, Harold Grader. Harold Grader just texted me that Justin Fuente will be the analyst on the Tigers game.
How about that?
Now, here's the bad news for Kevin Diaz. He's from Houston, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what he does, if he goes on and becomes, well, I guess became Tony Gonzalez, he might top him. But he's going to be the second best player ever from Houston.
Yeah.
Chris Jones.
Yeah.
Walking into the Hall of Fame.
Yes. Chris Jones, unbelievable. And I think he goes a little bit under the radar considering, Aaron Donald gets all the hype.
He
but
does,
Chris Jones
doesn't
is
he?
so good. He's so good. He's right there with Aaron Donald when it comes to playmaking.
Oh, what a player.
Last thing for the Tigers signing day, defensive back. This was a surprise. This one came up today, and a surprise signing. 4-star. Tigers get a 4-star on the recruiting trail. D-back Marjavius Moss from Shreveport. He was offered by Purdue, Minnesota, Baylor, and ends up committing to the Tigers. He was a top 40 cornerback in the entire country, top 400
Step
recruit.
in and help first game.
Now, I'm giving all the highlights. Now I have to give some lowlights. Then we'll go ahead and get to a break, and we'll talk with our guy, Steve Earhart, on the other side. But the bad news, a lot of flips today. Caleb Black, who was going to be a playmaker for the Tigers on the offensive side of the ball, wide receiver, running back type guy, ends up committing to Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. And, I mean, understandable in a lot of ways. Kenny Dillingham, really good offensive mind. Also, Javius Bonds, who is a 4-3 guy, ends up committing elsewhere. And then the final one, committed about 2 or 3 weeks back, Harvey Broussard, big 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver out of Louisiana, ends up committing and signing with Louisiana today. So in the grand scheme of things, I think the Tigers needed playmakers, and they're going to miss out on 3 big ones that they had big plans for going up next year. So there is, with good news comes bad news at times, and that's just the way it falls sometimes on signing day. So 3 guys flipped their commitments from the Tigers to elsewhere around the country. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be our final visit with our man, the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Steve Earhart.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai. State-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say A Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey guys, Platinum Jewelers wants to make you feel like a king or queen this holiday season and all year long. It's where the Tigers and Grizzlies go. Platinum Jewelers specializes in diamond engagement rings and customization, and they have a wide variety of watches, bracelets, earrings, and rings. They'll pay top dollar for your gold and diamonds, and wholesale pricing is available. Platinum Jewelers, 9387 Poplar Avenue in Germantown, next to Fresh Market. Call 901-907-0626. Platinum Jewelers, proud supporters of the Memphis Tigers.
Santa needs a new set of wheels, and he's going to Sunrise Chevy Buick GMC. Sunrise has hundreds of new and used cars and trucks. This time of the year, Santa's a little strapped for cash, but Sunrise has financing with no money down on approved credit. Sunrise has financing for everyone and specializes in secondary credit. The home of the guaranteed credit approval. That's good, because feeding all those elves, Santa's credit's not so hot. A $4 million used car inventory. Find new roads. SunriseChevyMemphis.com. 385 in Houston, Levy, and Colliers.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Burn to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brent Norsworthy.
The AutoZone Liberty Bowl will be played December 28th at 4:30 p.m. right here in Memphis, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. And for our last time this year, very sad it's our last time, but also very happy that we always have the opportunity with Steve Earhart, the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Steve, how's it going?
Wow, this is it's crunch time for sure here, but we get thousands of inquiries coming in every day. How do we get to the stadium? Where are we going to park? We were just on the phone here with Arkansas. Sissy's Log Cabin's going to do a giveaway to a fan there, and so awesome. A lot of activity going on. But we're really gearing up for a wonderful day on the 28th, and it looks like the weather is going to be tough the next couple of days. But I'm checking on both AccuWeather and WeatherCom, and it's going to be in the 50-degree on Wednesday. So we're blessed with the weather.
Now,
Steve, don't even watch that forecast the next 3 or 4 days. Okay. It's not germane to anything.
For us around Memphis, it's the wind up to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. For you guys working year round at the main offices, is this the wind up, wind down, or is it always a wind up?
Well, we're sort of like in I call the Santa Claus and his elves business. We're building the toys all year long. We have 150 great corporate partners here. We meet with all of them throughout the season. Of course, we had our big summertime events with Steve Spurrier, and then we planning things like the rodeo and the parade and the President's Gala with Starship this year featuring them and them doing the halftime. So it really is a sprint here. For example, on Saturday, we flew up to Lawrence, Kansas, and made a presentation at halftime of their big basketball game against Indiana. Had the chancellor, the commissioner of the Big 12, and all the conference players from Kansas there at halftime when putting on rolling out the red carpet here to bring all those Kansas fans to come to Memphis. And then from there we flew down to Little Rock where Arkansas was playing a basketball game in Little Rock, another sellout crowd there. And we did the same thing, ringing our trophy bell there in front of this 18,000 people at their game in Little Rock. So, yeah, we're sprinting hard and We got a couple of people. Harold Grader, your buddy, is over there at the stadium supervising the painting of the field right now and the hanging of the banners. So, we're coming down to the wire. But, again, thanks to all the folks here in Memphis that work so hard to pull this all together. It's a great tradition, and it's a great opportunity to focus the telecast, the platforming Memphis and St. Jude Children's Hospital around the world. So, it's a sprint. You can tell by my voice here. We're scrambling right now.
Steve, I don't want to get anybody associated with AutoZone Liberty Bowl in trouble, but you're going to have two of the most distinguishable, renowned, popular cheers in the history of college sports, of American sport, at your game. Rock Chalk Jayhawk for KU and calling the Hogs for the Razorbacks. Steve, I learned how to call the Hogs before I learned my ABCs. It's not even close which one's better. Calling the Hogs is the best cheer in the history of sport. Tell me when Rock Chalk Jayhawk takes off, and I'm ready to hear it.
No bias there, huh, Brett? No bias at all.
None, Gabe.
No, that's a great point. And these two universities have not played each other in football since 1906 was the last time they played each other in football. But you're right, and I saw firsthand the intensity of these fans at these two basketball games. I had never been to a basketball game in Lawrence, Kansas, and there's a reason why they're number one a lot of these years. I mean, they won the national championship last year. I mean, their fans are serious about that. The intensity in that, I guess, Allen Fieldhouse or whatever they call it there, and all the fans rattling their newspapers when somebody was at the line, the free throws, and it was really an amazing sight there. And so you're right, and I think half of the stadium will be red with the Arkansas red, and half the stadium will be the Jayhawk blue. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So we still have some tickets available, especially for our local folks here that support us year in and year out. We were working today with the kids from St. Jude who will be a part of the coin toss, and then the halftime with Starship when they do their songs. They're going to do we built this city on rock and roll, and nothing can stop us now, too. They're great number one songs at halftime, and trying to get all that worked out. And we haven't announced it yet, but the ESPN announcers, it's a real quirk this year. It worked out, but Dan O'Brien, who is the voice of the Red Sox, and he does ACC basketball. And then his color man is going to be Dan Mullen, of all things, who coached Dak Prescott here at Mississippi State. And he's been kind of a mainstay this last year on ESPN, and this will be one of his first bowl games. So it'll be a great event. The producers are here talking about get some footage from the Beale Street Bash and the parade and that kind of thing. So it is really a great opportunity. And so we still would love to have as many Memphians come out and be part of the rolling out the red carpet. The teams will arrive here on Sunday afternoon, and then of course, the next day they'll be practicing on the 26th. Kansas will be out at Christian Brothers, Christian Brothers High School, and then Arkansas will be at Rhodes College practicing on Monday. Then we'll have our team welcome party out at Dave and Buster's Monday night. Then Tuesday morning we have the FCA breakfast at the Hilton, and then we have our NCAA meetings during the day, and then by the afternoon, the parade steps off down on Beale Street at 2 p.m., which will be a lot of fun. I think you'll have maybe one of the biggest crowds ever on Beale Street, because the Kansas fans, they haven't been here since, 1973, before Beale Street.
They're going to be ready to roll, Steve. They're going to be ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go. So it won't be just a one-team crowd. It'll be, I think, a very full house down there with the blue and the red. And I believe Kansas has taken over B.B. King's club, and I know Arkansas's got several of the clubs rented out. I think Tin Pan Alley, or what's the name of the Tin Roof down there.
Yep.
But the street will be full, and then at Handy Park, as soon as the parade's over, we'll have Battle of the Bands, and these two universities have great bands. Each band is about 500 people. Kansas has one of the great cheerleader. They both have great cheerleader groups, and Stats. I'll ask you. They said they're going to be bringing Tusker, and somebody said, "Well, how big is Tusker?" And you probably know the answer to this, but how many pounds is Tusker, and where's he going to fit in? Stats. Give me your estimate of his poundage.
It's Tusk, T-U-S-K, and be very careful feeding him, or you may lose an arm. I'm going to say he weighs 1,200.
Oh, okay. Well, I think he's 700, but 700 pounds is still plenty big for.
What's he on a diet for? Come on, Razorbacks, feed him better.
But they said, well, where can Tusker be on the sidelines? And we'll work out a place for him. We had the Black Stallion last year for Texas Tech, so we can figure out a place for Tusker.
And when you coached in that game, had Ralphie way back when.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But no, it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, I just want to have everybody in the city, because it's one of the great traditions of Memphis.
It sure
and
is.
It's such a big television event too, and we've got really good opening there on Wednesday night, basically prime time. It will be 4:30 kickoff here, which is 5:30 on the East Coast, which catches us for the 3.5 hour window there, right through prime time on the East Coast and through the Midwest. So in Memphis, it'll be a chance to showcase. So we hope that we have a really nice crowd, not only of our invitees from out of town, but all the local folks that are so supportive and work to make this a great event.
I already.
I'm sorry, Gabe. Go ahead.
You probably have a more important question than me. I was going to ask, where do I start with my Starship repertoire? I already asked Brett about it. Do I start with "We Built This City"? Where do I go to build up my repertoire?
I go back to Marty Ballin days with Jefferson Airplane.
Well, here's a little.
Hey, the 70s got a little hazy, okay? I mean, understand that.
The two songs they're going to do at halftime are "We Built This City" and "Rock and Roll," which is a great song, and then "Nothing Can Stop Us Now," which were two of their number one songs, and everybody knows it. "We Built the City" on "Rock and Roll." Now at the gala the night before, which is the special dinner at the Peabody, where we honor the coaches' wives on the night before the game, because the coaches are all locked up with bed checks and that kind of thing. It's a great tradition, and they're going to do their whole repertoire. And here, some of your listeners may remember "White Rabbit," which was a great song. And so I polled and I said, now, how many of you believe that "White Rabbit" is still a kid's song about Alice in Wonderland, and how many of you believe it's a psychedelic drug song from the 70s or the 60s? So I think everybody voted for number 2 on that one. But we told them, I don't think you should do "White Rabbit" at halftime. We get the full audience there, but they're going to pull out "White Rabbit" and "Give Me Somebody to Love," some of all those great songs from their entire repertoire. And Mickey Thomas is one of the original lead singers. Grace Slick is retired, but he's got a new young female singer for those great songs.
Mm-hmm. No, I may need to go download "White Rabbit." That sounds like where I need to start with my repertoire then. How about that?
In the late 70s, it was definitely the latter to your question, Steve.
Somebody in your listeners will remember "White Rabbit." One pill makes me,
Yeah. I remember.
We told them not doing that one at halftime, but "Built the City" it fits Memphis here.
That would be great if we could get like the lights on the phones out, or go old school and have lighters out, everybody burning them at the same time to that, and burning other things.
Well, it is a great tradition, and everybody works hard in Memphis. We're one of the few bowls that still does a real big time, spectacular halftime. I call it that. We have about 700 young musicians and some dancers that are playing. We roll that stage out to the 50-yard line for Starship, and they do a wonderful job. Obviously, the Super Bowl, but they spend jillions of dollars there. We're trying to still do a really nice show, a finale there, and still have the college bands have their opportunity. One college band will play before the game, and one college band, and then as we clear the field, do the finale. Then ESPN catches some of that "Built the City" on "Rock and Roll" for the rest of the country to enjoy as well.
Well, Steve, we are looking forward to the 28th, and also it's our last visit of the year, and we want to say
thank you from
the bottom of our heart, thank you for giving us your time this season.
Well, thank you, and still, hopefully, all your listeners spread the word that we still have tickets available, and we'd like you to join. And I know everybody's waiting on the weather, but I think it really is. It's going to be cold here in the next day or two, but by Wednesday, it's all the prognosticators say back up into the 50s. So we really want to have people show up, and then we're going to need a lot of cooperation and help with parking and that kind of thing, so that we can get these thousands of people. And why a bowl is so important to a city is that you will probably have maybe 25,000 people. There'll be more than that coming into town from both schools, but people that have never been to Memphis. Like a lot of these Kansas people have never been to Memphis, and they see a good experience, then they want to come back in the summertime. And that happened at Arkansas several years back when we had a lot of folks that had never been here before, and then the next summer they made plans to come back and visit. So the economic pop for the city is very important. So it's important to our whole industry and our economy here. So again, hopefully all your listeners will band together and really roll out the red carpet and the act of kindness for somebody who's looking for a place to eat, or these fans that are in town, they're trying to find their way around. I worry a little bit about directions here to where to park at the stadium and so on, but hopefully if our whole city turns out and is very cooperative and helpful to all our guests from out of town, it'll be important for the city in the long run.
No question. But Steve, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You have a good one. Steve Earhart, the executive director of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl game on the 28th, 4:30 p.m. I hope the weather holds up. 50 degrees is balmy.
Man.
Balmy for December 28th.
That's when all our pipes have thawed out.
And by the way, if you haven't covered your spigots for the weekend around here, please cover your spigots. We don't need the pipes busting. We don't need all that.
I'm telling you, this is going to be a special kind of cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to think I was freezing at Fayetteville in 40-degree weather.
Winter Storm Elliott, though. You don't like it being named Winter Storm Elliott, though.
I mean, how do I discern between tropical depression, cone of uncertainty?
You're always with Brett. You're always on Brett's side.
It's ridiculous. It's just cold weather.
I still think one of the great metal band names ever should be Cone of Uncertainty.
There you go.
That's a good name.
Now on the main stage, Cone of Uncertainty.
So White Rabbit. So subject matter of White Rabbit, real quick before we get to the break.
I don't know anybody that wasn't stoned that was listening to it.
Okay,
understood. I mean, they made you get high to listen to it.
It was a requirement. It wasn't optional. Requirement.
Like smoking at the dog track used to be. It was required. You had to smoke to enter the dog track.
All right, let's go ahead and get to a break. We'll be back to wrap up hour number 2 with Tigers Bankroll. We'll talk a little Tigers versus Alabama State next.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, I want to talk about our seasoning and sauce today. Our sauce is a great blend of sweet, mustard, and vinegar. It's good on so many items other than barbecue. It's good on pizza. People use it in lieu of ketchup. But our seasoning is the original dry rub, created by my father using a mixture of Greek and Cajun spices. People think our sauce and seasoning are good just during the grilling season. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's good year-round. Our seasoning is good on fish, chicken, deviled eggs, corn on the cob, French fries. People even put a dash in a Bloody Mary. To get a complete list of all of our recipes using our products, go to hogsfly.com, click recipes, and you'll see 50 wonderful items and dishes. And Brett, our sauce and seasoning is available at most grocery stores, and if they don't have it, please remind your grocer to stock it. And our slaw is also available at most Kroger stores.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Barton's has been your hometown building supply store since 1885, offering local delivery. Now Barton's offers in-stock utility trailers, a great option for contractors and frequent DIYers on tight schedules. Available in single and tandem axle options, these 6-foot, 4-inch by 12-foot, 16-foot, and 18-foot trailers are made in Northeast Arkansas and include 15-inch tires and wood floor construction. Visit your West Memphis Barton's at 215 West Broadway to check out these quality in-stock trailer options.
When cold symptoms keep you up, try Vicks NyQuil Severe for max strength nighttime relief. Just one dose of Vicks NyQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Get some rest and feel better with Vicks NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, sore throat, stuffy nose, fever, best sleep with a cold. Medicine. Use as directed.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
I think this is the best chicken I ever had.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
It will be a reunion tonight at FedEx Forum for Tigers versus Alabama State. Tony Madlock, of course, head coach at Alabama State. TJ Madlock, Amar Knox, former commit at the University of Memphis, who's flipped to Alabama State once he knew Tony Madlock was going to be coaching them. But that will be a nice reunion there tonight with Penny and Tony. But 31.5 points is what we're looking at. Now, Brett, I need to, as we normally do before bankroll, we need an update. It's what we need. Need to figure this out. I know that Bryant took a lead with the win, and we had a group
Narrowly.
lock win, by the way, group lock win on the plus on A&M. But
2 and 3 group locks this year on Tiger bankroll games. Tonight, the Tigers, the lusty 31.5 point favorite. Ooh, lusty doesn't do that justice, does it? No. Bryant's at 1150 on the year. You're at 1140. I'm at 400.
Oh, but you came back 100. You had to get a $100 win to get back to that.
Way down.
Okay. I don't know what to say here, but Bryant, I guess you lead it off with your pick of 31.5. Do you like that number? Is that your favorite number ever?
No, my favorite number ever is 12. But I think, they're going to have a week off after tonight against a team that they know that they're going to be able to handle. We've seen how they've played against teams that they know they can handle. I think it's going to end up somewhere around 30 or so, but I will take Alabama State for $15.
Okay.
$15 on Alabama State. You just want the clock running.
I just want to get there. I want to be there for an hour and a half, and then I want to leave. Not going to happen, but that's what I hope for. Instead of the clock stopping like last week,
right.
I want the clock to jump ahead like 15 minminutes.
And maybe we won't have the issues with the shot clock and everything else.
That's
maybe
what I'm saying.
We'll be
exactly.
okay. We'll be okay maybe tonight. We'll see. I'm going to go the opposite here. I think the Tigers handle this, and I think they run away with it. I'll take minus 31.5. I will lay the points, and I will do it for $20. That's it.
$20. Gabe takes his alma mater, the University of Memphis Tigers, minus 31.5. I'm going to go $50, and I'm going to go the Tigers, and I guarantee you it falls plus or minus 3. It will either be anywhere from 28 to 34. It'll be right in that trading range. Vegas has this down, and they have it down on the bigger spreads more than anything else right now.
Yep.
I mean, they're sending it through all those algorithms and through all those computers, and it spits out really close. Now, yesterday, North Alabama was getting 22 points against Ole Miss and won straight up.
Now, I know that the line moved from 30.5 to 31.5. Would you feel any more comfortable with 30.5, Brett? Would you feel more comfortable with that number?
No.
Okay, I hear you. Neither would I. Now, let's talk about sort of moving ahead. Alabama State will be the game tonight. Then you're on to conference play. USF at home and then at Tulane. Then you'll be at home after that against ECU. Tulane could be an interesting matchup. Jalen Cook and Jalen Forbes back in the lineup. They're rolling, and that's one of the, I think, top-end teams in the AAC, although I don't think there's that many top-end teams in the AAC. It's the truth of the matter. Houston and Memphis at the top looks like at this moment a two-bid league, but it is what it is. Going forward, looking at these games, what do you think when we look at Penny Hardaway and this team, what do they need to figure out going into the heart of conference play in this next stretch?
I think maybe somebody else owned the ball, handling the ball in the half court when times that you're going to have to give Kendrick Davis some rest in the tougher conference games. I think maybe a lot more KO because he's going to be dependent on in conference games, and I think there's some there. Do you think there's there with KO other than just a big body?
Listen. When we talk about a guy with that type of athleticism, sure, I think there's something there. I don't think there's that much to unlock, though. I mean, he's older guy. He's had time to develop at UT Arlington, and it's just not quite what I expected. I think the blocking of the shots is what we can expect from him, but rebounding, offensive prowess, not there. And the biggest issue I have, we've seen him for an extended period of time in this last game against A&M, and he fouled out. The discipline on the defensive end just isn't there. And I that has to improve if he wants to be a key contributor.
There may be more things I don't want to see out of a game like this tonight and, frankly, next week to start conference play because I don't want any bad habits to develop. I don't want somebody, and I don't know that anybody's got this mission statement, but somebody maybe wants to find themselves from three-pointers and start heaving up a bunch of bad shots, or somebody even heaving up some bad two-point shots, some bad 8-foot jump shots. I don't want any bad habits to develop out of a game like this tonight. Of course, no injury, but no bad habits out of a game like this tonight or even the conference opener next week, because January is still, and especially with this schedule, it's still a little bit of a finding yourself in college basketball. But by 15th, 20th of February, you are who you are.
And I'm glad you bring that up because I think the Tigers need to find themselves offensively now that they're out of the heart of that out-of-conference schedule in their big games of the year. Obviously, Houston will be Houston's, the UCFs of the world. Tulane could be a little bit of challenge for them. But offensively, it's time to work on things. And I think Penny, for the most part this year, has done a good job of putting the ball in Kendrick and DeAndre's hands and telling them to make something happen. And they do it off the dribble. They'll get to the rim. They found ways. Kendrick in the mid-range. They've done a good job facilitating and getting the ball into the hands of cutters. And I think that's another thing. I think they're more connected on the offensive end. They're better at cutting and trying to get easier buckets, but I also don't think they're very talented as a jump shooting team. What I want to see happen is start to do a little bit of experimenting. Obviously, if the game is out of your control and it's a close game, don't do a whole bunch of experimenting. But Jonathan Lawson, I think it's time to work him in a little bit more. We know that Penny wants to play guys who buy into the defensive identity and are going to be disciplined on that side of the ball. But you need more offense. You need more shooting. And what we've seen from Jonathan Lawson when he gets into the game, he's 9 for 15. That's 60%. 9 for 15 from three when he gets to put those up. He has shown, even in a small sample size, he's one of the best three-point shooters and probably one of the best offensive jump shooters on this team. I don't think you need to abandon completely your defensive identity, but experiment. Try to roll some things in because you're going to need more offense as the season rolls along.
Just got a text from someone extremely close to the team that will remain nameless, and he makes a great point about the point spread tonight. Penny's not going to go out there and splatter Tony.
Yeah. I'm still taking minus.
Yeah, if they're up by a lot, he's going to put it on airplane control and cruise control.
Can I change my pick?
No.
Are we changing our pick, Brett?
No. Already locked in.
Already locked in, fine.
That was 5 minutes ago. If you had done it 4 minutes ago, I might have thought about it.
No scratch-offs.
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I just think
That's a great point.
The talent differential, I don't
think they can help it.
I don't think Penny, yes, he'll take his foot off the gas, but I even think the reserves for this Memphis team can do a number on Alabama State's roster. I just think that's the truth of the matter. So we'll see. We'll see. But I guess we'll be on the minus side regardless, Brett. We're already locked in. But let me tell you about a place you need to go for dinner tonight, lunch and dinner on the weekend, lunch and dinner every day of the week. That's Central Barbecue, where smoke is their sauce. There's a lot of places to get barbecue around Memphis. We know that, but Central Barbecue is the best. It's the best place to get barbecue. There's 5 different locations in the area: Midtown on Central Avenue, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer, the one on Poplar, and then the one in Mississippi for our Mississippi listeners on Getwell Road in South Haven. Start with those wings, those smoked wings. You get them honey gold. You can get the dry rub. You can get whatever you want on those. Sausage and cheese plate. Everything you can start with is great, as well as what you can get for your entree. That smoked turkey, that pulled pork. It's all fantastic. The sides, beans, greens, slaw, gluten-free options, vegetarian options, and end it all with the dessert. 5-layer cake, some of the best in town. The banana pudding is just like grandma or mom makes it. Make sure you get by Central Barbecue and enjoy that great food. And if you want catering for 15 or more people, call this number, 901-527-9990. Whether you're at home, at the office, 901-527-9990. And we're really right here on the precipice. I know a lot of people have done their holiday shopping, but sending barbecue to family is one of the best gifts you can give. There's a lot of people around your orbit, friends and family, that don't get to get this barbecue year-round. They're in spots. They're in Ohio. They're in California. They don't get to get this barbecue year-round. Get them some of that slow smoke Memphis style barbecue. Go to eatcbq.com and click that shipping tab. Ship it to anywhere in the U.S. of A. But those locations, one more time, 5 in the area: Midtown on Central Avenue, downtown by the Civil Rights Museum, Summer, the one on Poplar, and then the one for our Mississippi listeners in South Haven on Getwell Road. Central Barbecue, smoke is their sauce. Hour number 3 is on the way, and we started talking a little college basketball with our guy, Kevin Sweeney.
Hey Memphis, I'm Regina Moore, owner of Chef Flavors. Born and raised in the 901, I have so much pride for my city. So, my husband and I created a product Memphis can be proud of. Our award-winning spinach artichoke dip is on Walmart shelves now, and we need your help clearing the main. Let's show Walmart how Memphis come together for their own. Unlock the inner chef in you with Chef Flavors.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
When I was in Iraq, our convoy was hit. It was bad. After I came home, I could still hear booms and see tracer fire. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
With help from DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Today, I'm part of DAV. We're veterans helping veterans to get the benefits they've earned. And I give my veterans my all.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Naomi Mathis, thank you for your service. May your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Let's talk some numbers here.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
I used to feel so devastated.
Third and final hour on Wednesdays here at Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. Hit us up. We're here. Listener line 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live, see our bright smiling faces, and message us on our socials, Sports 56 WHBQ, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, the whole 9 yards, and go to our website for all of that stuff, plus every hour of our podcast and featured audio, sports56whbq.com. Without further ado, let's bring on Kevin Sweeney at CBB_Central on Twitter from College Basketball Central and from Sports Illustrated. Kevin, how's it going? Did you have any scratch down on Eastern Illinois plus 8,000 over Iowa today?
Unfortunately not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working the rest of the year. But it's unpredictable. I think whenever you got teams ready to go home for Christmas, sometimes you look ahead, and that's a dangerous thing.
Yep, no question. Now, with that, it looks like, and I wanted to start here with the SEC. It feels like a lot of those teams we're looking ahead. Ole Miss loses yesterday. Mississippi State loses their first game to Drake. A&M lost two games.
Done.
2 games. Memphis and then yesterday to Wofford. Over the weekend, Kentucky, Bama, Auburn, everybody goes down. What are your thoughts on the SEC in general after this basically 4-day stretch that we've been on?
Yeah, it was dreadful for the league. I think probably more damaging for some of those bubble teams, right? I think obviously too much Ole Miss that hope to be in that bubble consideration. If lost to North Alabama is going to tank you. I mean, that's a 5-alarm fire type of loss. A team like A&M that has some ground to make up, losing at home to Wofford, that's going to really tank you. So they're more concerning. Obviously, you want your elite teams to get big wins, and Kentucky has been slow there. Alabama got the great win over Houston, but couldn't quite double that up with Gonzaga. Mississippi State, I think they were due, right? I think at some point they didn't kind of playing with their food with a lot of teams, and Drake's a very good mid-major opponent, so that wasn't surprising to me. I think it's one of those things where outside of really North Alabama, none of the results are that surprising individually, but taken together, it's not the week you want for the league heading into conference play.
Just an outstanding start to college basketball. Now about a month and a half old, started on November 7th. Here we are on December 21st, and it feels a lot like January of 2020, Kevin, when I look out there and I see already 2 canceled games today between Rhode Island and Milwaukee, now Fairfield and Drexel, for COVID outbreaks. Please tell me we're not doing this again.
I think it will be certainly less felt than it was a season ago when we had kind of a flurry for 2-3 weeks of, tons of games canceled. I do think it's going to be inevitable, especially at smaller schools, that you'll have, brief, COVID pauses for teams. But I think it's just, again, more transition than anything else. I'd be surprised if we have massive schedule disruption. I mean, the COVID, the flu, and other illnesses have wreaked havoc the last couple of weeks. Yep. We talk to coaches. I mean, every team feels like they had, the whole team's sick this week, where we stink, right? And that happens, right? And it happened well before 2020. And I think that will continue to be a factor throughout, December and January. But I don't think we'll have mass cancellations like we did last year.
All right. There's one thing if a guy's in bed covered up to his neck and he's running a fever, that's one thing. But COVID symptoms this time of year, it's cold this time of the year, we're inside a lot, a runny nose. For the crowd that wanted to follow the science, I'll be glad to follow the science. It won't hurt a 20-year-old.
Right. Well, that's the tricky thing I think you're going to run into, and this is why you always need standards conference-wide, is you do not want to run into a situation where a team says, oh, well, we can get out of this game and be healthier when we play them a month from now when we make it up. Let's try not to play. And I think
pull a Jimbo Fisher last year at bowl time with A&M.
Yes, exactly. You don't want any sort of gamesmanship. And I think that's the only thing I really worry about here at this point. I think in most cases when there have been cancellations because the whole team is wiped out. I know Bryant had a game canceled a couple weeks ago, and it was actually flu related, but they had a kid in the hospital. They had multiple kids who were like could not get out of bed. So they're like, all right, we're just not doing this. But I think you really do worry about gamesmanship come conference play.
What do you? I mean, do you sort of understand what has happened with Drexel, Fairfield, and with Rhode Island, Milwaukee? Do you know how many guys were down? And protocol-wise, I thought they were looser at this point in time.
And isn't it interesting? It's always the team that's going to travel that has the outbreak.
Yeah, I haven't heard specifics on numbers on those fronts, so I don't want to quote anything there. But to my knowledge, at this point, it's pretty much okay. The full team got wiped out if you're talking about cancellation.
Okay, yeah, because at this point, I think most of us figure when it comes to protocol, sort of out of that protocol at this point, no mask, the whole 9 yards. But it is what it is. We'll see what it looks like going forward. Now, for Memphis basketball, what do you think about where they're at right now? 9-3, got through that out of conference schedule relatively well. The loss versus SLU, the loss versus Seton Hall hurts, but a 3-point loss to Alabama and 4-1 versus the SEC slate. Although we did just talk about the SEC having their struggles of their own. But what do you think about this Memphis Tiger team at 9-3?
I mean, they've accomplished, I think, what you would have realistically hoped for, which is get some wins that theoretically will matter, right? Neutral court over Auburn should help you. Home win over Ole Miss should help you some, right? Neutral court Stanford should help you some. They've gotten enough where you're not pressurized during conference play to run up a number, and I think that's huge. I think they're clearly the second best team in the league. Obviously, they have some limitations shooting the basketball, but when I look at this league, I think it's Houston, and then a gap, and then Memphis, and then a gap, and then everybody else. And I think Memphis is well positioned to try to wear home uniforms in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I think that's a really good goal.
What kind of seed line do you think we're looking at with Memphis at this moment? Obviously, a lot of things still could happen. We're still in December.
Yeah, I want to see what types of opportunities they wind up with in league play, whether games kind of work their way into Q1 versus Q2. But I think something like 6 through 8 feels like a nice, reasonable target. I think getting to that 5 line will be tough just because we've seen the committee not necessarily respect the AAC. But I think that 6 through 8 range feels pretty solid at this point for Memphis.
At Texas, with Chris Beard and his being set down by administration after the charges, do you think he coaches again at Texas?
I think it's tricky. I mean, I think if he was still at Texas Tech, he would be able to work his way out of this. But Texas, I think, is more complicated because Texas is such a massive university, and there's so many people involved in this process. I still think he has a real chance to survive, but I think it's going. My assumption would be that he does not coach again anywhere until the legal proceedings are through. Whether that's a guilty, a not guilty, whether it's moved down to a misdemeanor. I think they need to get through the legal proceedings. Then Texas will make a decision on him. And then if Texas were to move on, then he could look at other avenues. Because I do think there's no doubt in my mind Chris Beard will coach Division I basketball again. The question is, will it be at Texas?
In his absence, can they max out like they would have with his presence? I had them as a Final Four team preseason. Even an Elite Eight, can they do that without him on the sidelines?
I think they can. I think what would concern me is that when they hit some adversity in the season, do they just kind of pack it up, right? We already lost our coach. We've lost 2 straight. All right, we're done, right? We're not going to reach our ceiling. Like you self-quit on yourself. I think that's really what I worry about them. I think if things are going well, Rodney Terry can kind of weather the storm. He's certainly experienced, and they have a very old group, which I think will help. Tyrese Hunter played in the Sweet 16 last year. Marcus Carr is a COVID-year senior. Timmy Allen is a COVID-year senior. I think this is the type of group that is geared to weather the storm. But I do think if things get tough in conference play, how will they respond to that? That's what I think I really worry about with that.
Kevin, we look at the top of the AP Top 25, Purdue, UConn, and I know a lot of people had UConn slated in that top spot. Who do you think, in your opinion, who's the real number 1 team in the country right now?
I think it should be UConn. I know they struggled a little bit last night with Georgetown, who's the most talented bad team I've ever seen. But I just think
still
UConn
won
is
by
so
11,
complete.
grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Still have not lost. He'll still have not won a game by single digits. UConn, everything by doubles. I think one of the things that last night teaches you about UConn, their ninth best player, Joey Calcaterra, was the guy who won them that game. 14 points off the bench, was huge in their comeback when they went down 8. Like, when you have a team that is that deep where your sixth guard is the guy who wins you the game, and oh, by the way, your backup center would be an all-conference guy for a lot of teams.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about in terms of depth and quality depth. And I think that's the thing that has pushed UConn over the top early on. You hope they haven't peaked too early. But right now, if you play the tournament, to me, they're the best team in the country.
What do you think about Adama Sanogo as a Big East Player of the Year, maybe Player of the Year in college basketball? What do you think he has that upside by the time this is all said and done?
Yeah, I think he will probably be the favorite for Big East Player of the Year. He's the centerpiece of the team that's the best in the league. National Player of the Year, I think it's probably an uphill battle, especially because, right, like he's splitting minutes with a guy in Klingen who's been really good. Like it's almost like the Travion Williams, Zach Edey situation last year, where now Edey comes out from that, becomes the full-time guy. Now he's the National Player of the Year favorite. I think, honestly, it'd be the same thing with Sanogo. If you played him 30 minutes a night, he'd probably be right in the driver's seat for that award, but he doesn't have to, and that's kind of the beauty of UConn's team.
Mm-hmm.
In the preseason, I mentioned Final Four, and I said, this could all get disrupted by some of these teams being in the same region, especially as regional as 3 of these 4 teams are. I had Houston being at NRG at the Final Four at home. I had Texas, I had Tennessee, and I had UCLA. Of those 4, which one do you think, if any of those 4, can book their plans now to be in Houston? Is it the hometown Houston? They'll be there one way or the other, won't they?
They will be. I think they're in really good shape, and I think the win over Virginia over the weekend was huge because I think it almost solidified their number 1 seed. Right? They're going to run up a pretty crazy win-loss record. They're favored by double digits in all but 2 remaining games. That's road UCF and road Memphis per KenPom. So they're going to run up a number and be 29-4, 30-3. And I think if they're that type of record, they're going to be a 1 seed. And the path, I think, could clear pretty easily for them. They have great guards, obviously, with Shed and Sasser that will help you in March. So I think they're in great shape. They feel like the safest choice, and they really have all season just because there's a floor of, hey, we're going to be elite defensively. Hey, we're going to be elite on the offensive glass. And, oh, by the way, we have 2 great guards. If nothing else happens for them anywhere else, that's still a really good team.
Mm-hmm. No question. And I want to sort of travel to the ACC. Last night, watching that game, Miami beats Virginia on their home floor by 2. Isaiah Wong was earning every bit of that Life Wallet NIL deal that he got before the year. What do you think about Miami? 12-1 right now with that win over Virginia. They look like one of the better teams in the ACC.
Yeah, they're terrific with their guard play, and then the transfer Norchad O'Meara from Arkansas State has solidified them up front, big time rebounder, kind of a perfect fit for what they do on both ends of the floor. So they're very good. I think the ACC is fun because I don't think Virginia is truly an elite basketball team. I think the last 2 games have shown that they're more in that second tier nationally. We know that Duke is probably not a true national title favorite, but they have the upside. North Carolina, same way. They've had their bumps. But I think Miami and Virginia Tech are these 2 teams looming in the shadows that could make things really interesting in this conference. I don't think someone's going to run away with this thing. I don't think this is a year where a team's going to go 17-3 and win the ACC. I think this is the type of season where 15-5, maybe even 14-6 wins it.
North Carolina is such a weird thing to me. Come into the year as the number 1 team in the AP Top 25, and they have a 4-game losing streak. Then they go on a 3-game winning streak, beat Ohio State, and they did it in OT. I thought that was at least, they showed a little bit of life and a little bit of fight in that game. It feels very similar to last year, and we know where they ended up last year. They ended up in the championship game. They certainly have an upside, but do you believe they can reach it this year?
I think the Ohio State game is the one that you circle and you say, if North Carolina has the season we thought they could, if they're an ACC champion and a top 2 seed and go to a Final Four, you're going to go back and circle that Ohio State game as where it turned, because I thought they kind of regained their energy, their mojo, their ability to win close games that they had lacked earlier in the season. And it didn't make a ton of sense because it was generally the same guys. But when you talk to Baycott and you talk to Caleb Love when I was in Portland, like they were like, yeah, we just don't feel like we have that mojo that we did last year down the stretch. And I just wonder if a game like that, where the backs were against the wall, down 10, then needed a shot at the buzzer just to get to overtime, and then to do it the way that they did with Baycott having a huge game with 28 and 15, the two guards playing two of their best games of the year, like that just felt like vintage last year North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I think if it starts to turn, I think we'll circle that game as where that turning point was for the Carolina team.
Kevin, next Wednesday, a week from today, we will not be able to visit with you because we have Ole Miss playing Tennessee in basketball and then going to roll right into Ole Miss Bowl coverage. So the next time we'll talk to you on a Wednesday will be Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. The night before we visit with you, that night in the SEC will be Mississippi State at Tennessee and LSU at Kentucky and Ole Miss at Alabama. That's a good first night of full league games. I know there's a couple next week, but a full night of Tuesday, Wednesday, then Saturday league games. You talked about winning the ACC. What wins the SEC? What out of 18 conference games, what wins it? 13-5, 14-4?
I think 14-4, just because some of those battles at the top are going to be so fun to watch and so tough. I do think there's wins to be had at the bottom, right? I think when you look at Vanderbilt, who's really struggled, South Carolina, who's really, really down with G.G. Jackson, Georgia's not very good. We even just saw Ole Miss really struggle with a team like North Alabama. I think LSU and Texas A&M have both underachieved where I had them. Even Florida has been a little down. So I think there's wins to be stacked if you're Tennessee, if you're Alabama, if you're Arkansas, if you're Kentucky. But I just think with the head-to-head matchups and how good some of these home courts are, it's going to be hard to get up to like a 15-3. I think 14-4, you're going to get at least a share of that conference title.
I brought this up yesterday, and I think it was good timing considering the loss to North Alabama that Ole Miss took. At this point, looking at what's been done out of conference, obviously you have a whole conference slate ahead of you, and you get a lot of things to change for Kermit Davis. But does he have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to be able to save his time there at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I mean, I think they certainly have. If they don't have to be in the NCAA tournament, they shouldn't have to be close. And losing to North Alabama doesn't get you close. So they're going to need to finish strong. I know they had some injuries with Ruffin and trying to get him back up to speed. But the fact that they haven't turned it around since he's gotten back, I think is concerning. So yeah, it's a huge year, and I think there's certainly pressure on, especially given the number of schools that made changes last spring in this conference. And the level of coaches at the top of this league, right? I think there will be real pressure to go get someone who can bring it at the highest level in this league. And when you see the success that Chris Jans is having in year one at Mississippi State, you know it's possible. I think that doesn't play in Kermit's favor either.
And good or bad through the years, one's made the other one either make some good decisions or some hasty ones and sometimes some really dumb ones because, hey, State's doing it. Hey, Ole Miss is doing it, and we've got to react to it.
Yes, certainly, and of course, no more than the Mike Leach Lane Kiffin saga from many years ago.
Yep, no question about it. Now, last thing, Kentucky. I've watched them, and we know the talent, and we know what could potentially happen with development throughout the year, and they could be peaking at the right time. I get that, but offensively, they don't seem to run anything. Defensively, they're not locked in. Do you have any buy-in on this Kentucky team in particular, and what John Calipari is trying to sell?
I mean, I don't love them. I know they have work. I know they say, "Oh, we're tweaking things. We got work to do." They've lost 3 tough games, but I just I don't even think they're that talented, right? Right. I think there have been Kentucky teams who turn around and that's an NBA player. That's an NBA player. Do you really watch Kentucky and see a surefire future NBA player on this team other than Casey?
Not particularly.
I don't. Shibwe might carve out a role, but it's not going to be easy. Severe Wheeler can't shoot in 5'9". This team doesn't have traditional Kentucky talent, so I think you were hoping that this team would have a little bit more maturity, a little bit more, togetherness and resolve, and we haven't really seen that. And I think that's the thing that continues to concern me with Kentucky. Maybe it'll turn around, but I'm not overwhelmed by the talent, so I'm not necessarily excited that in a month everything will be just fine again for Kentucky.
Yeah, we'll see. we'll see. How's the weather there by the Great Lakes? How's it going?
Well, I'm back in. I just got back to upstate New York. Thankfully.
Okay, rock on.
Got out of town before the snow, but sounds like it's going to be quite the white Christmas that you got here.
And in Memphis, if we're going to get down to single digits, it's bad for everybody else. So
no fun.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But Kevin, always appreciate
Kevin,
it, man.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. Enjoy it. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Kevin Sweeney with us every week from College Basketball Central and Sports Illustrated, and we get into the new year. It's already college basketball time. It's always college basketball time, but it'll get to the really fun stuff as we get into conference play. And that first weekend in the SEC, we'll get to talk with him when we visit in January. That first weekend in the SEC, you'll have Kentucky going to Coleman Coliseum to play Alabama, and honeymoon's been over for John Calipari, hadn't it? But the real criticism, the long knives really haven't come out. They could come out with a slow SEC start.
That team, I'm telling you, on the offensive end, just has nothing about them. They don't run anything. They don't look comfortable. They don't have a main ball handler that's able to get everything facilitated.
They don't have a clear-out guy. Let me take over.
They have none of that this year. And again, with the John Calipari
How good
team.
with Kendrick Davis had made them?
Oh, it substantially better. But when it comes to Kentucky this year, it truly does not look like a Kentucky team that I've been used to seeing from. And I agree wholeheartedly with what Kevin has to say. The talent isn't quite there. You know that every single year it's about, okay, let's get this development going. Let's see by game 20, game 22 what they look like. But I just don't see the upside. I don't see it near what it has been in the past.
I don't either. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. They are very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area, and they look forward to 2023. Head down to DeSoto Auto Sales where all the cars are test-driven and checked out thoroughly, head-to-toe, bumper-to-bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model you can imagine. If they don't have it, that's rare, but if they don't, they'll go find it quickly for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. You walk in and you're treated like family by a kind, courteous staff, laid-back atmosphere, high-pressure sales tactics. Not a chance. It's not anywhere near that. Very laid back. They do care about your time, and they've got it down. They've got it streamlined. They've got it perfected, and they keep it simple at DeSoto Auto Sales for the ultimate car experience. The ultimate car experience is this. They know we live in a world today where time really matters. You find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed. Not going to be rushed, but it's going to be 45 minutes or less. That's a guarantee at DeSoto Auto Sales because they know we live in a world today that time really matters, so they keep it simple for all of us. Go online, look at the testimonials, the referrals, and look at the beautiful cars at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year from everyone at DeSoto Auto Sales. And for that town and country experience, head down to DeSoto County to DeSoto Auto Sales.
30 minutes left in the show. We have plenty more to come. South Alabama -4.5 over Western Kentucky. We have a pick to make of the New Orleans Bowl. Also, we have some more Grizzlies talk to get to. And the question really is, was last night concerning to you? How concerned are you about what you saw on the court, on the road in Denver last night? We'll be right back on Sportstime.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, everybody. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit is required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions do apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Hey, Jim Rome here. If you want to experience the unmatched flavor of natural live fire grilling, then look no further than the Big Green Egg. Forget the pellets, the propane, the knockoffs. Roll with the best. An authentic Big Green Egg grill backed by a free lifetime warranty. Yes, lifetime. It's that good. Grill, roast, smoke, or bake. It is easy to light. It's simple to use. Shop online for free home delivery at BigGreenEgg.com. That's delivery to your door by a dealer in your community. Go to BigGreenEgg.com.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue, so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. And appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010 for QC Kinetics.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep it a little secret. I don't wish for my success, I speak it. I caught a buzz and you did too, but you tweaking. I look like I've been getting money, how reeking. You smell me, that's LV. Walk around with my chest.
Thanks to Jack Harlow for bringing us back from the break. By the way, Brett, have you heard the new update on Jack Harlow, your guy, right? You know about this? He's dating Dua Lipa. Do you know Dua Lipa? Levitating?
I got it on iTunes.
Yes. He's dating.
Remember
Dua
when
Lipa.
St. Louis, because it was the backup catcher's walk-up song.
Kisner. And he called a shot too on his last album. He had a song called Dua Lipa.
He did.
He had a song called Dua Lipa. So, I mean, it's pretty impressive if you ask me, Brett. You ever done anything like that? You haven't called your shot like that. Come on.
No.
It's impressive stuff from our guy Jack Harlow. Now, anyways,
show me, don't tell me.
Anyways, TNT has.
Are there any provocative lyrics in Levitating that if I hit this I get fired over?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, maybe don't play that part.
Right,
maybe don't play that part.
Let's take that off. That's the baby. We don't need that.
All right.
But TNT has not been. Is it still playing?
That part's fine.
There we go. There you go. Brett, unreal. All right, let's end that. All right, that's enough. Let's turn it down.
Groovy song.
It's a great
turn
song.
It off.
Great song. Dua Lipa, great artist.
I just like saying groovy. It reminds me of White Rabbit.
Is it dope? Is that song dope?
It is. That song is dope. White Rabbit was dope.
That's a different connotation, though, right? Different connotation completely. But hey, this is what it is.
Way to go,
TNT.
Jack.
TNT has not been very good for the Grizzlies so far this year. 0-2, obviously one game on the road against the Pelicans. They lost by 11. Last night they lose by 14 to the Nuggets. Bad start, 35-14 first quarter. Now, I'm going to ask this. In macro, again, I don't think when we're talking about game 30.
Gigantic picture, 50,000 feet.
Macro, I don't think it's a crazy concern. Get Desmond Bane back. The shooting woes can get a little bit better, although the last two games they've been under 30%. That's a scary part. But when we talk about the micro, what concerns do you have from this two-game stretch that the Grizzlies have really struggled in?
I'm ready for the big step up of Zaire's return.
Yep.
We've been very patient. I think we should be. It hadn't been a lot there. Also, last night, it wasn't anybody that could cover a big, and didn't look like anybody really wanted to. That was both Steven Adams and Jaren on him. Now, that's a player that can make a lot of people look like that. And I go back to something in the preseason I talked about, this free throw percentage.
Yeah, they're the worst shooting team, free throw shooting team in the NBA. Last night, 14 for 21, 66%. Not good.
I think the baseline should be something with a 7 in front of it, shouldn't it?
Yes, it's not getting any better either, though, Brett. That's the frustrating.
No, you
part
can't
about
improve that percentage. It's too far gone now.
You can only improve game to game, and they're worst in the NBA right now.
But on the big worries, the macro none, the micro not that much. Just hit a good patch. Now, we knew it wasn't going to sail along like that homestand was. That homestand was a little bit hypnotic, and it was so easy.
One thing, shooting has to get better. Desmond Bane can help that, but under 30% 2 games in a row, not good.
Shot selection could get better.
Taylor Jenkins kept John to start the fourth, which is very rare. He really wanted that game last night, and they still lost by 14. That's another concern. But the biggest concern, you already mentioned it, Zaire Williams. At what point do we go from, okay, he's rusty to, hey, he's just bad right now. He's just playing up bad. And here's a couple of stats
Give me
for
January.
you.
Let me see.
Here's a couple of stats for you. 1 for 18 from the three-point line. That's not Zaire Williams.
Stroke looks good, though.
Stroke's still fine, and I still think there's upside there. But 1 for 18 from 3, and also, and probably the more concerning thing when we talk about the upside that we think he has as a defender, he has the worst defensive rating on the team when he's on the floor, 113.6. That's behind Tyus. That's behind Ja Morant. He's not playing physical on that end. Last night, the dunk Jeff Green had over him is just kind of sad and ducked away. And by the way,
49 years old, Jeff Green.
15-year difference definitely showed itself on that Jeff Green dunk over Zaire. And by the way, is there any other player? I mean, there's probably a few, but Jeff Green has every tool in the toolbox where you thought he could be a absolute star in the league. Just never has been. Game to game, though, hey,
It's been that way forever, and he's played for everybody.
But Zaire
and teased every one of them.
Zaire defensively, the shooting I think will come back, but defensively he's not connected and he's not playing.
We got to come up with our all-time Grizzlies tease team. Jeff Green would be on it.
Bruno Caboclo,
Jared Bayless would be on it. Courtney Lee,
sure. Bruno Caboclo, come on.
He never teased me. I didn't bite.
6'9" with a 3-point ball. Get to the rack. Play a little
Jake
defense.
Sakalidis.
Oh gosh, who else? Who else would be on the all-time tease list?
July show, the Grizzlies all-time tease team.
We should do it. But in the micro, that's
honestly, when he was here, Kyle Lowry.
Yeah. Yep. But honestly, when we look at concerns in the micro, that's my biggest thing. And also, I think game to game, we've seen this in the career of Jaren Jackson Jr., but kind of disappeared in a lot of ways last night. Had some good block shots, good recovery, played hard, but offensively just wasn't a factor, and the 3-ball wasn't falling.
But we knew this was the complexion of the season was going to change a little bit on this road trip after that. That halcyon homestand.
Yeah,
and it's changing, and we'll see how it ends. Long season. I promised yesterday I wasn't going to freak, and I'm still not.
No, there's no reason to freak. They're 19-11. They're tied for the top of the Western Conference. But you have at Suns, at Warriors here in a row, Friday and Sunday. the way they played these past 2 games, there's no reason to believe that they're going to be all that competitive. But I think in the macro, what we've learned from John Morant is, and he looked good last night. He looked, besides the turnovers did 7 turnovers. That was a little too high. But we see that the bounce back game from John Morant, Dylan Brooks, and the rest of those guys is usually pretty substantial.
For TNT games, our local guys have to completely get out of the way, right? The Bally's Sports Southeast team?
I believe so, yes.
But I enjoyed Kevin Harlan last night.
Yeah, I always enjoy Kevin Harlan. I think Kevin Harlan's one of the best that does it.
He sure is.
He's really good at what he does.
And that jacket, whoo, man, that Joker. Yeah. I thought he borrowed from Rob Fisher.
I didn't actually pay attention. What did his jacket look like?
Christmas theme, kind of
good time.
Hilton Head, their tournament winner that they give away the kind of the plaid jacket, very Wimp Sanderson, late 70s look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not familiar with Wimp.
Yeah.
Not familiar with the late 70s. I wasn't around then, Brett.
I was.
Okay. Yeah, and White Rabbit was a good song back then, huh?
It was.
Yeah, there you go. Now, back to a little bit of college football. We do have the transfer portal going crazy. You mentioned JT Daniels to Rice earlier. A couple of other interesting ones that took place yesterday. Emory Jones, I don't know. I mean, that's sort of JT Daniels-esque, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emory Jones to Cincinnati. Everywhere. He's going to be at Cincinnati for
Dan Mullen. Still think he's
Scott
going to be
Satterfield.
Good, and he's not.
And then Graham Mertz, speaking of Dan Mullen, ends up at Dan Mullen's old place, Florida. I thought Billy Napier could have done better than that, right?
I did too. And is it an indictment on Jack Miller? Did they see enough in the bowl game? I mean, I don't know if that was a fair chance for him. I think Graham Mertz has talent. I'm not going to say he's devoid of talent, but damn, he hasn't showed it, right? And obviously at Wisconsin, it's kind of tough, very run-first scheme. Braylon Allen runs for 1,500 yards, and the quarterback's not asked to do much. But even when he wasn't asked to do much, he couldn't do much. He didn't do anything. Gabe, I really regret I'm getting ready to ask the question I'm going to ask you. Okay. Almost 3 years after this stuff, we see it in college basketball. Do we have a bowl game, pull the plug before kickoff because of COVID?
I'm going to say no because I don't want it to happen. That's more hope.
And I'm going to go with no because unlike college basketball, 2 or 3 or 4 doesn't affect you as much.
You have a massive roster. But I did think, to your point, and I get where you're really frustrated with what's going on in the lower levels of college basketball. I thought the protocol had changed drastically to where we weren't going to have full cancellations.
20-year-olds.
The full
20-year-olds.
Yeah. That's the only thing that bothers me about it. I get being careful, but I thought the protocols have changed.
And before somebody says they could harm Grandma,
cancellations.
Don't take Grandma to the game.
It is holiday season though, Brett. You're gonna be around the extended family. You're not going for that.
Grandma ain't gonna be close to the team. She'll be all the way up in the rafters.
Brett went straight. He went full straight face on me. Just absolutely not biting.
I'm just. It's just mind-numbing at this point. Mind-numbing.
Oh, gosh. I get it.
Just stupidity on parade.
I get it. Last thing before we make our pick of the New Orleans Bowl, and I meant to mention this yesterday, but Brian Newberry is going to be the new coach at Navy following Ken Niumatalolo.
Defensive guy.
DC for the last 4 years. I just have this question to ask. What is he going to bring different that Ken didn't?
That's a great question.
Why'd you have to do the unceremonious end and ended bad with Coach Ken after all the great stuff he brought to that program?
Sure did.
And you just hand it to a guy that's already in the program that's going to run it the exact same way.
Won't change one thing.
That's frustrating to me.
You're not going to come in and run 5 wides.
No, it's frustrating as hell to me. And he's been okay as a defensive coordinator. And people will say, well, he's had a top 40 defense the last 3 years. Okay. Did it when the Tigers played Navy's defense, were you ever blown away? Maybe that 10-7 game, whatever. But were you ever blown away by what that defense was offering?
Gabe, if I'm playing Navy, there are 2 defenses I watch all summer. My analysts, my GAs, everybody getting ready for game prep week. I watch what the Tigers, their defensive plans the last few years against Navy. It's because it's been solid. And here's one. Watch what Army does.
Yep. And I don't want to just go in on a service academy with their coaching switch, but damn, you didn't have to do this to Coach Ken on the way out just to hand it to his defensive coordinator.
And
it's going to do the exact
unceremonious.
same thing. They did it after the Army-Navy game, right there in the locker room. Why?
Humiliated him.
And he is humiliated. You know how hard – and Ken Niumatalolo is a really good guy, and he's usually not like that toward the media. But for him to come out and talk about how unceremonious it is with radio stations, with media, I mean, you can tell he's hurt and he's mad.
And I wonder how much longer he even wanted to go. I bet 3 or 4 more years would have been enough for him. I bet he didn't want 10 more.
Sure. But he won 109 games there. He won over 100 games, got them to the top of the AAC.
Distinguished himself.
And let's be honest about when you run the wishbone, triple option, whatever it may be. If you're in a conference for an extended period of time, people are going to catch on. And it's going to be harder to win with that. They see the film. They know how to stop it. It's predictable. It's just naturally predictable. So I don't think Ken did a bad job by any stretch of the imagination, but in this day and age, for a service academy to compete and get talent and run what they want to run, it's just going to get harder and harder and harder. And you saw it with Army this year. Army took a step back. Army was not what they have been under Jeff Monken. So
maybe a step or two back.
So, grand scheme of things, I have not, from the outside looking in at that, I have not appreciated how that has all gone down. Now, time for a pick. New Orleans Bowl. South Alabama, Western Kentucky.
We had a group lock on Toledo. We lost. We're 0-3 on bowls.
That was a tough loss, by the way. Tough loss. Very tough loss.
Very tough loss. Tonight, South Alabama 4.5 over Western Kentucky. 2 great young coaches in this game. Kane Womack versus Tyson Helton. 2 good quarterbacks tonight in New Orleans at the Dome. I take South Alabama and lay the 4.5. Bryant.
Give me Western Kentucky.
So Austin Reed's in the portal. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
Kinda.
He's playing though, right?
He's playing, but I think he's leaning to pulling out of the portal.
Okay. I'm going to, because I think there's some continuity there, I'm going to take Western Kentucky plus the points. And honestly, I think they get the win, but you know how my picks have gone, so it is what it
Bryant's
is.
6-5. I'm 4-7. Gabe's 3-8. We got a lot of bowls left.
Why did I have
we got more bowls left than we do Showtime.
Why did I have to jinx myself, Brett? Why did I do it? I should have learned from you. I should have learned from you last year. You got after that 9-0 start and you wrote it in. You just wrote it in.
But already put the banner up.
The banner never went up though.
Banner never went up. You came in just wrecked my whole house.
All right, time for a break. When we come back, Taco Bell Crunch Time.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. Depending on how long you've been around, you've likely known my name for 30 years. Perhaps for my 20 years as the morning show on Kix 106 as the Young and Elder Show, or my 15 years at Brian Elder Roofing. So obviously, my reputation means everything to me. One terrible customer experience could tarnish a third of a century of goodwill. My reputation for quality and strong relationships is our main focus. We're the highest certification, a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning. If you have a business or a commercial building, we're the highest certification for warranties with GAF and Mulehide products. We don't come at you in sales mode. If you got a problem, sometimes the solution is just to fix the problem. Call me right now. I'll come out and see you today. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Willoshin here for Homer Skelton Hyundai. I love to brag about my friends. Right at the corner of Highway 78, Lamar, and the first exit in Mississippi, Craft Road. They always come up with some innovative program that makes you want to just go out and get your brand new car. And I'm talking Hyundais. Right now, you can get a new Santa Fe. You can get a new Tucson. You can get any brand new Hyundai, state-of-the-art technology. You can get that without paying for 3 months. You've heard me correctly. You can get a brand new Hyundai and not pay for 90 days. This just started. It's going all the way through January. You could say a Christmas present, a holiday present from Homer Skelton Hyundai. Again, make your deal and then don't worry for 90 days about paying the very first payment, and only at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Grapevine Liquor and Wine has the largest selection of bourbon in North Mississippi and wines from all over the world. Let Jimmy the Delta Boy help you select the perfect spirit or wine to impress. Whether you're looking for the best price or a certain flavor profile, Grapevine Liquor and Wines has it. If you want good southern treatment and the hottest prices, Grapevine Liquor and Wine, Getwell Road, South Haven.
Hotty toddy, gosh almighty, where do you get your bourbon? Flim flam, bim bam, Grapevine, by damn.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
You drove it, you love it. What more do you need to know?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is that Colorado's merch sales are up 700% following the hiring of Deion Sanders with Coach Prime. And their most popular line on Fanatics, the Coach Prime collection, where it features it saying Prime and 21 is highlighted on it. I mean, the hope and excitement around that program certainly at an all-time high. They're doing some decent things on the recruiting market and the transfer portal market. Still waiting for Travis Hunter. Where are we at on subscribers? We're getting close.
I'm looking
right
now.
90,
Hold on.
90,
We're at 101,000.
Okay. He's going to announce. He's going to announce. So we'll see what Travis Hunter decides. Maybe he'll end up at Colorado, but certainly that is a heck of a number. 700% up in merch sales.
I learned today, much to my disappointment, that Tiger fans will not get to see JT Daniels next year. They will be among the few fans in FBS out of 130-some-odd teams that won't be able to see JT Daniels. He's been the traveling show of average, hasn't he, through his college career? He has been around everywhere. I guarantee you, I would love to know this. I bet you I wouldn't miss it much. Guarantee you as a kid he played travel baseball for about 5 different teams.
I don't know.
Always the answer, but he's never the solution.
That's well put. You're a poet. You don't even know it. Now,
what I could have done. Dua Lipa.
That's right. Yeah, you did.
What I could have done without is this offseason in baseball has been interesting because we've had some bad reports from John Heyman about Arson Judge signing with the Giants. And now we have another deal that fell through that we jumped the gun on. Carlos Correa is not actually going to sign with the Giants, 13 years, $360 million. Instead, he's going to sign with the Mets, 12 years, $315 million. Baseball reporting has been nuts. John Heyman he published his story at the New York Post last night at 3:00 10:09 a.m. Eastern Time. He will end up playing third. The Mets have done a good job of assembling this team. They're going to have a payroll north of $380 million. Steve Cohen going out there. You can say what you want about him spending money, but he's spending money in ways that he thinks is going to bring them a championship. I think more people in baseball could learn from that. But think about this infield they're going to have: Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Lindor, Carlos Correa. That's going to be something to watch.
It will be. I could have done without the very sad news this morning early of the passing of Franco Harris, number 32, from Penn State to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had a brother at Penn State with him, too. It was a good defensive back. His immaculate reception honored far and wide as the number one play in the history of the NFL. December 23rd, 1972 in the playoffs versus Ken Stabler and the Raiders. Kurt Gowdy on the NBC call with Al DeRogatis. I was watching it live and couldn't believe what I was seeing. And Franco Harris was on Joe Paterno's first great Penn State teams in 69, 70, and 71.
And Friday was the 50th anniversary.
The day.
Wow. Also, what I could have done without the Rams, and we didn't have a whole full show yesterday, so I didn't really get to this, but the Rams mathematically were eliminated from the playoffs after their Monday night loss versus the Packers. And I was looking at the numbers. It truly will end up being the worst Super Bowl defense in the history of the NFL. 10 losses, that's tied for the most in a title defense since the 1999 Broncos, who were 6-10. Certainly the Rams will lose another one. Last year on December 21st, the Rams were 10-4. Now they're 4-10. A complacent front office, complacent franchise, no offensive line play, no run game. Their high-paid players have fallen flat. But to be honest with you, seeing the guy who runs the show there at the top, I don't mind.
Couldn't happen to a better bunch.
I don't mind seeing it one bit.
I don't either, Gabe. I don't either. Oh, Stanley Enos Kroenke. Great name, horrible human. Keeping a close eye tonight on the New Orleans Bowl. South Alabama 10-2, trying to get that 11th win against Western Kentucky. I mentioned Kane Womack against Tyson Helton. Austin Reed against Carter Brady. Is it Brady or Bradley for Western for South Alabama? Two good quarterbacks tonight.
I think it's Bradley.
Bradley. 11 NBA games tonight. Pacers at Celtics, a good one. Golden State at the Knicks with an 8-game winning streak for the Knicks, 6-game winning streak for Brooklyn. Look at basketball in the Big Apple. And Tigers and Hornets at FedEx Forum. We all love Tony Madlock. And tonight it'll be his team against Coach Penny Hardaway's team.
And a couple of sleeper matchups in college basketball I want to mention. TCU will be visiting Utah. That's going to be an interesting one. Utah in the Pac-12 looking pretty good. Auburn versus Washington. Auburn visiting Washington. And then also, and obviously need to keep an eye on Auburn for the Tigers' sake.
Auburn's favored in that, aren't they?
I believe so. By 4.5 is the number right now. That TCU-Utah game's a pick'em.
It is.
And then the final game to keep an eye on, 9 p.m. late on CBS Sports Network. Arizona State versus San Fran. San Fran they were loved last year in the West Coast Conference. That could be an interesting one. Arizona State on the road only favored by 2.5. So
now is that the games. Forgotten Hurley? Is that the Billy I was trying to give it a few weeks ago?
That would be Bobby. Yes, that's the forgotten. That's the forgotten one. Bobby Hurley. Billy Hurley. You just put them together. It's fine. It's fine. It happens.
I don't know what I was doing.
Makeshift names. It is what it is. But that's all we're going to have for today. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves.
Be safe tonight downtown. Enjoy.
Everybody all prepped for Christmas? Everybody all ready to go?
All done.
Okay.
No,
I'm done.
We'll get there.
Good stuff.
Most of my gifts have been delivered.
I have my deliveries coming in tomorrow. It got delayed, which scared me for a second, but it looks like it'll be in tomorrow. So my shipment, I'm going to have to wrap some presents. Y'all good at wrapping presents? I'm not.
No.
I'm horrible.
Not good at
all. You can tell when I wrapped it. I usually go with the bags and then just stuff the bags.
I'm not good.
Tape the bag shut. That's usually the extent of my wrapping. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to all of our great guests, Alex Kuhn, David Fletcher, Steve Earhart, Kevin Sweeney, for their contributions to today's show. For Bryant, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Be easy. Stay safe. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easy